What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm CJ.
He's a Diggins? Like a Diggins?
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Oh.
This week,
My God.
we're talking about The Beekeeper. The first movie so far of the year, where bees are the main thing. I don't know if they're going to come back in another movie, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. You know, Ghostbusters, maybe some bees are in that.
Well, the Ghostbusters, the frozen one, right? So maybe they have to freeze a bunch of ghost bees or something.
Maybe
they're frozen ghost bees. I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool. Trying to think
what
else.
What about
could have
Furiosa?
bees.
Maybe there's a lot of bees.
Oh
in
yeah,
Furiosa.
That'd be
Do
pretty
you
wild.
think in that climate apocalypse, there's a lot of bees flying around?
I mean, maybe that's her secret weapon.
Maybe that's why they had Mad Max. I don't know if we've ever seen like the full explanation for what started their Mad Max situation, but maybe it's that the bee died. Yeah, that's like a doomsday scenario.
I mean, the first movie is kind of in the middle of the collapse. It's not actually, it's kind of like mid-apocalypse more than post-apocalypse.
I guess that's true. There's not a lot of bees in that, probably. Like, it's like pretty easy to spot if there was a bee. But what about Madam Web? She might find a bee.
Ooh, yeah.
Spider-Man have any bee-themed friends? He has Swarm, the Nazi bunch of swarm of bees. So maybe that'll show up in Craven or something, or Venom, or one of the other ones.
Or maybe gets its own movie.
Yeah, maybe. It may be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hey.
Speaking of things that will get their own movies, news of the week. It's kind of last weeky news, but there's not a whole lot of news today. Is that they're making a Mandalorian movie, you guys. Apparently, because of the strike, things changed, and someone went, instead of season 4, let's do a little bit of season 4 and then a movie. So you guys get excited. It's Mandalorian and Grogu, the two guys that they are.
It's really incredible that they took probably the most popular thing Disney has done with the Star Wars brand, I think is fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
And managed to wait until I'm not excited by the idea at all before they made a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty incredible. We don't know too much about it. I think we know that like Jon Favreau is part of it, but that just makes sense.
I mean, of course.
He produces
like
all this stuff.
Saying by now, yeah.
Yeah. And like, according to them, if the movie is a success, it could lead to the next phase of Mando's storytelling becoming movie sequels.
Phase?
So this is the next phase of Mando. Yeah. We're in phase 1. We're just maybe we just finished phase 1 because now he's kind of hanging out and just being tired and stuff. So phase 2 is going to be a movie. What's Disney up to, do you think?
I just can't believe we've reached the phase portion of these proceedings. That I mean, for me, that's pretty wild.
That's where it was always going, right? Where it's like Disney doesn't want to like make a good thing and be done. They want to make something that they can milk until the end of time.
Yeah, and the good thing about phases is you don't actually have to make the movies, but you do get to announce them to your investors and say like, this is a new phase, and then, you know, all of them get canceled. So that's always nice.
Yeah, there's that too.
I mean, this is to be like, they're probably going to make this movie. I feel like Pedro Pascal is very popular now. His arm is broken or something. Yep. He's going to be Mr. Fantastic, probably, maybe. Who knows? What could they?
He's also done the impossible. He acts with a helmet on, which, according to some showrunners, is literally impossible.
No one's ever done it. And it's going to be, I mean, he's definitely acting in these, or he was. Now he's not anymore. I feel like there's definitely going to be some other guy underneath that helmet while Pedro Pascal's making the other 3 things he's making this year.
Well, yeah, it's overtaxed, right? He can't do all that. I
mean, what else would you want to see in a Mandalorian movie? Is there anything?
More Bo-Katan. Give me more Bo-Katan.
I was going to say, if they just made like a straight up, like an homage to old Westerns, but it's the Mandalorian, and it's not like part of the greater Star Wars universe or whatever, in terms of it's not trying to be a story that ties into stuff, but is just like an old spaghetti Western, or, you know, a modern version of a spaghetti Western. I think that would be really cool. I have no confidence that's what they're doing, but it would be cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, That would be cool. The only way you could do that is you'd have to sneak in a bunch of bullshit Dave Filoni characters to satiate their need to put like, club shadows that they have made from their previous shows in there. So like some Bad Batches or whatever, could they be in it? Then that would be pretty popular.
I mean, like, that's like what this is. Like, it's a lone wolf and cub is like the original premise of this, which was like, it's not like that was one movie. They made a bunch of those samurai movies.
Yeah.
Of Lone Wolf and Cub. But there's not like a larger story to it, really. It's just like there's these two characters and we're going to have them be really cool in a bunch of different movies. And I would be fine with that if that's what was happening. But,
what about if Andor was in it? Can he cross over with Andor?
I don't want Andor to cross over with anything.
That'll probably be what happens.
Andor to just be by itself and be cool.
No,
also,
not
Andor's
allowed.
dead by the Mandalorian timeline.
That's true. Andor is dead. What if they could time travel? They could probably do that. Remember in Ahsoka where they go to all those weird tape, like those weird like levels and then walk around? Did you see that part of Ahsoka, Diggins?
I didn't watch Ahsoka.
All right. Spoilers for Ahsoka. In the middle of it,
maybe.
They go to a big void with a bunch of blue, like kind of lanes, and that's like heaven or something. And Ahsoka is able to go there and talk to Hayden Christensen and stuff. So everything's possible now through Christ. That's like yeah, exactly.
Also
I could
true.
totally see a version of this where, like, I don't know, maybe an Andor character who survives Andor. What's Kino Roy doing or whatever? What's the guy from the Prison Break? Andy Serkis. Maybe he survived. Maybe he learned to swim in midstream. Or what if it's Mon Mothma's husband? What if we get more of him?
Oh my God.
That'd be fun. He could be the sheriff or something. I don't know.
I would love it if that piece of shit kept showing up and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because then it would be pretty funny to see him. And he could be like a Daffy Duck kind of figure of Star Wars, where every time he gets involved with something, it ends embarrassingly for him and then just moves on. And then he gets involved with the next thing and then same business. But he's probably going to get stabbed or something in the next season of Andor, because that's what that show does. It's very serious.
Stabs people.
Yeah, people get stabbed.
Did anybody get stabbed in that show?
Oof. He shot a bunch of people from close range.
People got shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The problem is they needed to use their small knives as compasses that they could use to make a map so they could find secret rooms and stuff. Like in the Star Wars universe, they're kind of busy with those. So you just use your blaster.
Right. That's
for
what
everything.
knives are for. They're not for knife work.
No. Yeah, I don't think anybody got stabbed in Andor. If they did, it would probably be the guy from The Bear, Cousin Richie. He could probably have gotten. I can't remember what happens to him. Maybe him. I don't know. Maybe that robot, the robot that's sad. Nah, he's still kicking. I guess you could hypothetically stab him as many times as you want. Oh, you know who might get stabbed? Maybe the guys that go to the planet. Remember when they're little babies on the planet of children? They probably shoot or stab some guys because they don't have guns, and they kill some guys, I think.
Yeah, totally think I remember.
Yeah.
I remember all the Star Wars stuff. I think that's the other problem, too, with Star Wars, is that they, like, you could argue, at least with Marvel, I guess Echo Show aside, it's one continuity, right? It's like, we started Iron Man, and now we're here at, Miss Marvel, or, whatever, Captain Marvel, whatever. But like Star Wars, it's all over the place, right? Like you got Ahsoka bouncing around against Mando, bouncing around against, I guess, still the movie canon, right? So we got a Rey sequel, right? That's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like too many things, I think, is the problem. So I don't know how you solve that.
Just make as many things as you can and hope that everybody gives up and just watches all of them and never expects to know what's going on.
Right.
Just
throw so much shit at the wall that everyone just mindlessly consumes without questioning the value of doing so.
That's probably their plan, right? That's
what they would prefer. That's what they would like. Because then you don't have to spend a lot of money or put in a lot of effort, but everyone still watches and you still make money.
Right.
And every so often, by accident, one of the things is good, like Grogu, and then you can just milk that
That's
for like a
true.
decade,
Yeah, you get all the cash.
Gotta get the cash. Gotta get the dough. I
think they should just start calling it Baby Yoda in the marketing, because it's weird that they still call him the Mandalorian. We know his name. They should be forced to call it Din Djarin and Grogu or something. the clunkiest title.
I still maintain that anyone who actually calls him Grogu is a cop.
Yeah.
Probably.
Ooh, speaking of that, maybe they could go to Boston, Space Boston, and meet Bill Burr, who's still alive. Not Bill Barr. I mean, they could meet him too if they want.
Bill Barr, right?
They could meet.
They
Bill
could
Barr,
meet
yeah.
Space Bill Barr, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Space Bill Burr is alive, so that'd be fun. Love him and his weird movie about dads or something. I don't know. Nobody watches it. Anyway, you guys, speaking of dads, there's a dad in this.
Is there?
Yes. The FBI agent who is a dad.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's more of a mom movie. This is like a Mother's Day. They should release this on Mother's Day. What are they doing?
Yeah.
You know,
This should be the movie you take your mom to see.
They should get this.
Let her know how important she is.
Yeah, get Gary Marshall, make Mother's Day 2, the Beekeeper, and then just package it that way. This is really, honestly, I didn't think moms would like this movie. Besides the Jason Statham parts, just the characters being like, I didn't call my mom enough. That was a real mistake of mine.
You don't think the moms would like looking at Jason Statham?
No, I think they do. Forget about the Jason
No.
Statham part. I'm just talking about all the part where Jason Statham sits down. It says it's nice when you call your mother.
Oh,
she's very
sure.
busy, but she would like to hear from you.
It's nice when you call your mother. Also, if you do anything to an old person, it's the worst sin imaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to it.
Well, we will get to it. So we're going to talk about 2024's Beekeeper. The first, well, actually, I don't know if this is the first big hit of 2024. I know it's like did okay. I know the Mean Girls musical movie that everyone hates also did okay. So I don't know which one was bigger, but you know, better than Night Swim. It's looking up. Things are getting back. People are going back to the cinema to see the Beekeeper. And we got to talk
everyone's talking about it.
Well, you know what this also is, besides, Beekeeper and genre movies are good. It's also, I feel like for us, it's, not quite Hutchtober, but Joshuary.
Yeah,
a little bit of Joshuary going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he's like, I mean, listen, I think we found out he was Diggins' most watched actor on his Letterboxd thing last year, right? So
that's what Letterboxd tells me.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else he's working on this year. I mean, he's got plenty of time. He's in this movie for like 10 seconds, but maybe he'll be our consistently most watched actor. We can just do all the old Hutcherson stuff.
Maybe 2024 is the year of Josh Hutcherson. Maybe he's just about to blow up.
Does he have any other things coming out this year?
He has 4 things on his IMDb, but my computer, it doesn't say when any of them are actually coming out, and they're all in like pre-production or like stuff like that. So it's hard to say. I don't think any of these things are expected to come out this year.
Okay,
that could change though.
Yep, always can.
But yeah, we got to start with the IMDb game, of course. The IMDb B game for our IMDb keeper. I mean, never has it been more B.
Huge.
Yeah,
it's huge for us.
This is probably where they got the idea for the movie from our podcast, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They're like, B is Beekeeper. That's a thing. And then they kind of went from there. They extrapolated. But yeah, we who won last week? Was it Diggins? No, was it?
Yes, it was, because DJ had to summarize the movie.
Right, yeah, because you knew about the Australian guy who drowned.
Because I knew about 4 times. I knew the Prime Minister drowned.
Which apparently, according to them, someone, I'm assuming an Australian listener, although that may not be true. Just information just out there. Apparently, there is a pool named after that Prime Minister in Australia that they were building while he was like about to die, or like, it started before he died and then was finished afterwards, and they named it after him, which makes sense because he loved to swim,
Yeah.
until the very end.
Yeah, we can only hope that we would love something so much that it eventually kills us.
Yeah.
He died doing what he loved.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. So that's kind of true. It's such an important piece of trivia from Night Swim, a movie that no one remembers this week.
No,
may as well not have existed. But Diggins, would you like to start on our IMDb journey?
I would love to do that. Now, of course, if you've never listened before, we should tell you that we here at Mostly Nitpicking Incorporated, we play a little game called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where my 2 esteemed co-hosts have to try to guess what the IMDb summary for this movie is. Now, you may be asking yourself, where does IMDb.com get those movie summaries? Well, I'll tell you. every week, all the interns at imdb.com headquarters get gathered together. And each one of them is given a single feather plucked from an eagle. Then, using those eagle feathers, the interns all have to, they've got to like blow on the feathers to keep them floating in the air for as long as possible. This is done until all the interns except one have passed out, from the breathing.
What if the feather falls on the floor?
They are killed.
Oh, man.
If it falls before they pass out.
Oh, listen, the job market's pretty good now, I think. So, but IMDb is such a wonderful workplace. People will, I guess, make sacrifices.
Anyway, the intern who manages to go the longest without passing out is then given the honor of taking all the surviving interns, locking them in their cages, and, acting as warden of the intern zone until they have finished writing all of the summaries for the movies that came out that week. So a shorter way of saying it is the interns write them.
Oh, okay.
All right. Not bad.
That makes sense. But the one who has the best breath, it doesn't have to write them.
Correct.
Because so that's good to hear.
Yep. So I have that intern written imdb.com summary right here before me, and it's fine. It's pretty much correct.
Okay. DJ, as last week's loser, you get to decide.
Gosh. I want Nando to go first.
Okay. I'm going to say, after a loved one gets caught in a telemarketing scam, her friend must come. Let's say, after a loved one is caught up in a telemarketing scam, a retired special forces agent known as a Beekeeper, comes out of retirement to get justice for her. And he unravels a conspiracy that goes all the way to the top.
All right. DJ?
I'm trying to remember this guy's name. Like, I want to say Adam Cole, but it's not. That's a professional wrestler.
No, you should probably go with that then. That might be him.
Okay.
It is an AC. I think you're right. I don't remember it myself, but
it's Adam something. So I'm just gonna go. After the only person he ever cared about gets horribly scammed, a modest seeming beekeeper, Adam, goes on a revenge spree to go after the organization that took everything from him.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You both did really bad.
God damn it. We always do.
So I don't really feel like I can give it to either of you. Now,
that's fair.
I checked the trivia section. There is a single item in it, which is that this is Jason Statham's 5th film in the last year.
That sounds right. Wait, not counting, not this year, right? Like counting last year?
I think not the calendar year.
Yeah.
Like within the past 12 months.
He would have been great in Night Swim, but I'm pretty sure he was not in that. And that's the only, and he might have been in the Mean Girls musical, because I think he could probably sing and dance. Has he ever sang in a movie before?
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine.
Right? I think he's probably got one of those voices where you're like, all right, not terrible.
Like one of his co-stars, he could probably do one sort of talking song as a villain in a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, who are you talking about in this sense?
I'm talking about Jeremy Irons playing Scar in The Lion King. I
thought you were talking about The Rock and Moana, and it's his Hobbs and Shaw co-star. But yeah, you're right. Jeremy Irons can do it.
But okay, I have something though.
Okay.
I hope it's bee-based.
Unfortunately, it's not. Unless you want me to look up some bee trivia and ask you bee questions.
No, we'll be here all night.
We'll be here all night?
We'll be here all night, yeah.
Okay, no. So there is a thing that this summary, there's like a 4-word phrase that this summary calls the thing he does in this movie. Like he is on a blank, 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 blank. In fact, I'll give you one of the words because it's just like, it's a blank, blank for blank.
Okay.
FOR. If I want you guys to take turns guessing, and if any, and you know, if one of you gets it exactly, you win. If any of you get any words, then you know you will be in the lead.
All right. Do you want to go first, DJ, or should I?
You go first. We'll keep it on theme. It's blank, blank for blank.
Yep.
Yes, it's describing like pretty much the whole thing he's doing in this movie.
I'm gonna say killing spree for revenge.
Okay.
Giving himself for freedom.
Ooh.
Nando was definitely closer, but Nando got 0 words correct.
But I didn't imply that he gave himself to the to Jeremy Irons.
Well,
Come
I mean,
get
we all
some,
wish
Jeremy.
we could.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's going to go to another round. Nando was
Okay.
definitely closer, but 0
We got
words.
no words.
But none of my
That's
words
okay.
were right. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's
He said
say
killing spree for revenge.
killing spree for
Yes.
revenge. So I'm gonna change it because I already, as I said it, I didn't like one of the words. So I'm gonna say, let's say, violent rampage for justice.
I was also going to use justice, and I still will. I'm gonna go.
If it's a right word, then that would be a good call.
I'll say ultimate fight for justice.
Still 0 words on
Huh.
both sides.
Okay.
I would say you actually moved further away from it with this one.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'll say bloodbath fight for America. Rock,
All
flag,
right.
and eagle. Yeah, that's not it. Are you sure? I think that's it.
What about you, DJ?
Oh God. Bloody fight for survival.
All right. Still 0 words. I'm going to reveal another word.
Okay.
This is a blank blank for vengeance.
Ah. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think this is this doesn't feel right, but I think I'm gonna say it anyway. Let's say he's on a murder quest for vengeance.
Okay.
Damn it! I was also gonna say quest for vengeance, so I'm gonna say violent quest for vengeance.
Still not getting anything here.
Got nothing. Man, we're awful at this.
Yeah, this is tough.
We should be fired.
I'm gonna give you one more, and then I'll come up with something else.
Okay.
Okay.
Like one more round or one? Okay.
Or we each
Yeah,
get
one
another.
more.
Okay.
One. You each get one more.
Okay. Let's do extreme. God, what does he do? He like goes and he kills lots of guys. But what do you call that? Like, what do you call it when you go and kill a bunch of guys besides murder spree? And like, let's go with righteous rampage for justice.
I'm gonna say,
Or vengeance. God damn it. You know what I mean.
yeah,
Yes.
no.
I gave you vengeance.
That
Okay.
definitely won't be where he loses points. It was bloody was already one of the words, right? Yeah. A harrowing rampage for vengeance.
I'm sorry, you still didn't get any of them.
We're so bad at this.
It was a brutal campaign for vengeance.
Oh, a campaign.
Okay.
You gotta have campaigns.
Yeah. I think ours were better.
I'm really surprised you guys never got vengeance. Especially because Nando started with revenge.
Well, yeah, I feel like when I started with revenge, I was just like, well, it's not revenge then. It's whatever else. You know what it is? It's that he says vengeance a couple times. That comes up in the movie. But there is so much justice in the end. And specifically like, you don't want this. You want justice. And I was like, maybe that person saw the movie. Maybe that in turn got...
Call Your Mother, America, all those themes.
Yeah, it's just so much. Do you have anything else?
No. Ends in a tie. We ran out 10 minutes. There's nothing more.
No.
It just ends in a tie. I'll take a tie at this point.
I mean, there's some hilarious goofs here in the goofs section.
Like, what do you mean goofs?
Like,
goofs are like mistakes or errors. You know, goofs.
Oh, okay, sure.
It's like you've never read the IMDb page.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute because I haven't won in forever because these keeps being stolen from me. I'm going to call Beekeeper on you guys.
There are hilarious goofs. I mean, they're really, really minuscule, like gun minutia.
Oh, yeah, there probably always lots of that.
So good at gun minutia.
So in this movie, they talk about queen slayers, which are bees who will kill the queen of their hive if some kind of like embattling, something is happening that the queen is no longer fulfilling her duties properly. Bees can also create new queens if their queen dies unexpectedly and they need one for their hive, which they do so through feeding a bee larva a special substance that they make. Do either of you know the name of that substance?
I do.
I mean, is it that one? Is it the one substance that it is? Then that one. Yeah, I know it as well. So me and DJ both know it. We don't even need to say it. What's next, Diggins?
First.
I don't know if there's like a technical name for it. Is like, because there's probably a technical name for it. I know like the fake name is like royal jelly or something, right? That's what this is called.
That is what I was looking for. Royal jelly.
Yeah,
You've all seen that Futurama episode, Diggins.
Listen, I'm looking at all these bee facts, okay? I don't know what you want from me. There's nothing about this movie, okay?
But about all those actors we love so much. The one from Umbrella Academy, Jeremy Irons, The Hutch.
Careful,
we named them all.
Through all of them.
Yep, we're out of them.
Hey, Felicia Rashad is in there.
Is she?
She's the old lady.
Oh, get out! I didn't even catch that. That's fun.
See, Diggins, you're going through precious data that could be had.
Precious data that could be used.
I thought you guys knew.
For scams.
There's nothing else in the summary that like there's nothing else, no other fun.
Okay,
little...
I guess there's two adjectives that they call the organization that he is part of.
Okay.
And if you guess what those adjectives are.
One of the adjectives?
If you get one, then the other person has the chance to steal, but if they can't, then you win.
Okay, so then do I still go first, or does DJ
go? No, keep going on theme. You go first.
Okay, let's call it, he's part of a secret,
Wait, you want both?
Yeah, give me both.
He's a beekeeper, a secret.
So wait, sorry, is it adjective noun or adjective and adjective?
No, it is an adjective and adjective organization.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
A secret what are these called? A peacekeeping organization. Say that.
All right.
Ferocious and deadly.
I would say Nando was closer, but again, neither of you have gotten the words.
He was closer? Ooh.
At least one of his words was close.
Okay. I'll go next. I think I got, all right, let's call it a top secret espionage organization.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that Nando was really close with secret. All right, I'm gonna go with. So I still think one of them is. I'll do violent, and for the other one, I want to say What's something like secret? Okay, ready? Clandestine.
Fuck, I was gonna do clandestine, but I mean, obviously, I did top secret, so I'm sticking with that. But you know,
One of DJ's words is correct.
Ooh.
Now, Nando,
Sure, it was clandestine.
You have one chance to give me both words. The structure is it is a blank and blank organization.
Okay. It is the Beekeepers are a clandestine and what did they even do? Like they kill people, but then he's just like kind of a spy. It's not like a clandestine spy organization.
We only meet 2 beekeepers in the whole damn movie.
We meet 3.
Well, 3.
Well,
yeah.
No, you're right. We
meet
2, and there is a third implied beekeeper.
Well, what about the one on the phone who Jason Statham calls? Is she a beekeeper or not?
I don't think she's a beekeeper.
She works for the organization. Who's the third
Yeah.
one you're talking about?
I'm talking about the third one is the one that the Australian guy's like, I killed a beekeeper.
Oh,
so like
okay.
there is a third beekeeper that exists. There's at least 3 in the world.
Is that how you read that accent also?
I don't know, whatever
That's how
it
I read
was.
it.
Yeah.
It was all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. Clandestine. I don't even know what these people are. I'll just say like intelligence. It's probably not that, but that's what I said. So we're going with it.
Well, Nando, your instinct that it was generic because we know nothing about this organization was correct, but no matter how many times I hinted it at you, you kept saying like an adjective that wouldn't fit in a sentence with "and" in it. I'm afraid it was powerful and clandestine.
So they are powerful.
Yeah.
They are powerful. Wow.
That's true.
So DJ
It's
wins
over?
this
Oh
one.
my God.
DJ
Oh
wins.
my God.
Thank God it's over.
The actual summary was one man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as Beekeepers.
I love that it takes national stakes. A thing that's like 5 to 10% of this movie.
Yeah.
But they start hinting about it very early in the movie.
Yeah, like it's hard for the movie like this to not honestly excuse me. Sorry, I was thinking about Night Swim. If Jeremy Irons wasn't British, I'd just assume he was the president the whole time. But he's not, so you're like, what? I don't know what this guy's deal is. But
why is he here?
Yeah, what is this weird little guy? But okay, so DJ, as the winner, you get to say what you thought of Beekeeper.
Right, that's how we do this.
Yeah.
It's not too hard though, because like, well, we'll get to the spoilers. Like the one big one. I like this movie. It's not amazing, but I think for like a January movie, it's pretty good. It floats around the tight 90, which I love. I have a bias towards Jason Statham because I just like him in general. The action scenes are good, and we kind of just like get right into it, right? It's like, and this is all in the trailer, right? But you know, Jason Statham, someone close to him is wronged. He's got to go fuck shit up. You know what I liked is that there's a lot of stuff in the trailers, but it's like the first like 20 minutes of this movie. Like you think when you're watching it, oh, the thing where he like straps the belt to the car and the guy and flies off the cliff. Oh, I bet that's the climax of the movie, but it happens like really early on. So
I cannot imagine a more boring climax of the movie of like all this crazy shit happens and then he straps some guy to a truck. The guy that's not Josh Hutcherson or Jeremy Irons, their boss.
Right. So they save a lot for you. That's in there. Like, oh, that's fun. But yeah, I like it. It drags like a little bit where there's a good chunk of time. I would say like 20 to 25 minutes in the middle. We're spending too much time with like the bad guys and the FBI and some of these ancillary characters, but no Jason Statham. I think that's bad. But besides that, like, I think it's a pretty good movie. Like, would I say go out to theaters and watch it? Like, if you're bored and you have one of those subscription services where you're paying for the movies anyway, yeah, go. It's nice to see on a screen. Could you wait till VOD to watch it at home? Absolutely. But should you watch it at some point? Yes. So that's what I think about it. Also, Josh Hutcherson is fun. He continues to be fun. He plays a very one-note character that does some like nonsense at the end, but like I liked him. So I thought it was fun. Nando, what did you think of the movie?
I more or less liked it. It does feel like it's the latest in a line of like John Wick knockoffs, and it's one of the more functional ones by just being like by picking a really specific bit that it commits to pretty hard, and just having Jason Statham be one of the more competent action stars. And every scene's exactly the same. He walks into a thing, he says, "I'm gonna kill you guys," and they're all like, "Ah ha 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 ha," and then he kills them, and then he leaves, and the cop shows up. I think the cop stuff isn't really very good, but it never is in these. And it's not incredibly like present, so it's okay. I do think that I didn't have I didn't have strong feelings about Jeremy Irons. I usually like him more in these. I think he was okay in this. And I think Josh Hutcherson was also okay in this. They're all just so broad. And the guy who does get thrown off the bridge with the car, might as well be Josh Hutcherson. It might as well be that there's 3 Josh Hutchersons running around and he has to find them over the course of the movie. Cause there's a one specific kind of guy. So I don't know. It was okay. It's fine. I think it's, pretty competently made action movie. I don't think everybody needs to rush out or see it. I don't even think I think it's definitely a good movie when it's on HBO or whatever to go to watch. You'll have a good time with it. But it's with these movies, these Jason Statham, action movies, they're all so similar. If you want to just imagine it, you probably can, right? It's just, you just need to know that the cop is the one from Umbrella Academy. That'll paint a more, accurate picture in your mind. Also, that guy that's honey's flammable as fuck isn't really in it that much. So don't get super excited when he shows, or get excited when he shows up. But if you're imagining the movie in your head, he's not a main character. But yeah, it's okay. Diggins, what about you? What do you think of The Beekeeper?
I didn't really like this movie very much. I didn't think it was terrible. It certainly was a better watch than Night Swim.
Yeah.
But I fully agree with Nado where it gave heavy John Wick knockoff vibes.
Yeah.
Which wasn't great. Because I am the only person in the world who thinks John Wick is only okay. For real, there's just a lot of things about this movie I didn't really care for. I don't really like most of the performances. I did like Jeremy Irons. I thought he was fun because he got to be the guy who was beekeepers, my God. Which was fun. But I don't know. Jason Statham is doing the stoic performance that people want from him, but the lines are bad, so it doesn't seem that fun. Josh Hutcherson, I don't know. It's probably the fault of the dialogue more than the performances, that the dialogue is so wooden that it's hard to say them convincingly, but I don't know. They just weren't doing it for me. And yeah, I just don't really like the genre of action movie, which is the only one we get now, where it's Invincible Superman walks into a room and instantly dismantles all opponents. And I'm I don't know. I think it's more fun when he gets beat up and is losing a lot. But I'm the only one, I guess, who thinks that. Or at least I'm the only one who would think that if I was in a room with a bunch of executives.
That's fair. Because I would be the executive who's no, you're wrong. Invincible Superman who walks in and beats up people is fun.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it can't commit to being silly or not. And I think that's also hurts it. But yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of specific complaints, but we can get into those in the wheel. So just, I don't know. It seems like your standard or kind of knockoff action movie that's not that interesting, and combined with it following trends that I don't much care for in the first place, I did not really enjoy it. I think it's a miss.
Wow.
Personally.
And that is why you fail. That is why you fail.
I feel if this movie was if it wasn't about beekeepers, there'd be absolutely nothing here. And I feel he makes a movie. I was kind of hoping that tiebreaker would be that you would make us name the 5 other Jason Statham movies of the last, year, whatever, because I do think I've seen more boring versions of this, but so similar that you're I'm just kind of glad that they gave us the scraps of he has a little costume sometimes and stuff.
Can you name the other Jason Statham movies for the past year?
I mean, I can name 2 of them. I feel like I think there's some other ones that I've kind of forgotten about, but I can name 3 of them actually.
We have talked about all 4 of these movies.
I'm sure you're right.
Not necessarily did an episode on them, but we've talked about them.
Okay.
DJ, do you know any of them? Do you want to try?
So Expendables 4.
Yep, Expend 4 Bulls.
Mhm.
I just thought of the last one. Yeah.
Meg 2.
That's right. The Trench. No, it's not called that. Wait, is it called
It
that?
is.
Yeah,
No,
it is.
you're correct.
Yeah.
What's the Aquaman one called? The Lost Kingdom. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Good golly, Miss
Crazy
Molly.
if they called this Aquaman one The Trench, considering he went to the trench in the last one and not this one.
Well, The Trench was supposed to be the spin-off that they were going to make that they never made because that's how the phases work. You announce a bunch of movies and don't make them. So that's why I was like, they couldn't have named this one Trench too, but they did.
I cannot think. What's the third obvious one?
So Fast X. He has a
Fast.
small role in Fast X, but he is
Stupid
technically in it.
Fast.
The other one is a movie that I have not watched, but I do own, and I'm going to watch it eventually. It's Operation Fortune Bruce de Guerre, or whatever it's called.
That's correct.
We
I
should
almost
do
put it
that
on the
movie.
other day. It's. I like Guy Ritchie movies. Like they usually work on me. And
Even that King Arthur one?
I've actually never seen that one. I like Guy Ritchie movies set in the present day. He put out a new trailer for his next movie that looks also kind of fun. I can't remember what it is, but I was like, remember seeing it and going like, oh yeah, I'll watch that. I guess we didn't see a trailer for it, but it's called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It has like Alan Ritchson and Henry Cavill, all of our biggest guys. Henry Golding. It's going to be great. Probably be stupid.
Guys.
A British military
these
recruits a
stupid
small
guys.
group of highly skilled soldiers to strike against Nazi forces behind enemy lines during World War II. Like, yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
And then he has a new show out that's The Gentleman. Remember that movie where it's like a Guy Ritchie movie about weed or something with Matthew McConaughey? They made a
Sure.
show of it starring Theo Vaughn from White Lotus. I've seen a lot of trailers for it recently, including one that reveals, I believe, Brian Cox as if he is playing the same character that he played in
Succession.
in Succession. Yeah. Like with that amount of gravitas of like, ooh, look at that guy you all love.
Right.
But yeah, Jason Statham makes a lot of movies. I bet he's
That he
got
does.
at least 2 other ones coming out this year. I'm not.
Pay them bills.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Gotta pay them bills.
if he was bad in them, I'd be like, they should take a break. But I never think he's the problem if they're ever bad, which they're frequently.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess he's got a movie called Small Dark Look coming out. Levon's Trade, which is both a movie and a TV show. That's never a good sign. And then Fast X Part 2. We'll see if that ever comes out.
Love it.
Yeah. And then Levon's Trade is another David Ayer movie who directed this movie and The Suicide Squad that everyone hates. So maybe this is going to be a new partnership.
Well, maybe if they released his cut of Suicide Squad, then
Yeah,
we'd all love
be
it.
So goddamn happy.
It would be good because it would have all the things that we always wanted, all those things that we were like, this one's not good because it doesn't have them. He's had them, so
Like more Slipknot.
more Slipknot, more,
Who was the Slipknot of this movie? Was it the Australian guy?
It was every single opponent of his that just came up where they're like, this is the cool guy that's going to stop him. And then they'd be dead in 10 seconds.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Could it be the guy that got hanged in the woodshed or whatever? That guy got a pretty
Yes.
Slipknot-y death. Did anybody's head explode? That's as Slipknot-y as you can get.
That's true. That's his signature move.
Did anybody try to climb everything? Was there anybody who was like, I'll climb to him, and then that guy's head exploded? That would be the ultimate Slipknot move. Did anybody punch a woman immediately? Just to show this guy's head should explode soon, you guys. You'll be cool with it. I don't know. Every movie needs a Slipknot. But you guys, that's the Beekeeper.
Yes, now, Nando, you have to summarize the Beekeeper.
Yeah.
For those who didn't go see it.
So like we're gonna try to do this. I think I remember most of the things, but there is a bunch of shit in the middle. We're gonna try.
I think it's an easy summer. Well,
Yeah.
easy insofar as like it's not crazy.
No, it's not. And there's really is one character. Like it's the things he's doing. And every so often we check in on the cop or the rich people. So basically, like
Who are
like
just
we've-
talking about what Jason Statham was doing.
Exactly, yeah. And like if you've seen John Wick, a lot of these beats are pretty pretty familiar. But basically, this guy is Jason Statham. What is his character's name? You ever remember?
Adam Clay.
Clay.
Adam Clay.
He is a beekeeper
that tracks.
who puts on a little bee outfit and does beekeeping on a little area in not in the woods, but like kind of out in the middle of nowhere almost. It is land that he rents part of the shed, I believe, of
The barn.
it's a barn, right. Yeah. Of an older woman played by Felicia Rashad who seemingly lives by herself. He's nice to her. She's nice to him. They talk about beekeeping every so often when they bump into each other. And
we know this because at the beginning of the movie, he says, "You are nice to me."
Yep.
He literally does.
And she's like, fine, whatever. Like she's not a character that you're like, is she secretly part of it? Is she his handler? Like you're supposed to figure she's like a normal person. So he's doing beekeeper stuff or whatever. He gets her a big thing of honey, put it in a nice jar like Winnie the Pooh, and then it's going to give that to her. But then she accidentally, well, I guess not accidentally, but gets involved in a credit card, like phishing kind of scam where her computer is infected with malware or something. Why her? What did she do? Well, we'll find out afterwards, but there's a reason kind of why she's being targeted for this. The guys drain all the money in her account. They work in a Discovery Zone or, like a bowling alley, basically looking place where one of them gets on the DJ booth and he's like, everybody, let's do a scam to an old woman.
He does the scene from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
When Leo's like in the tiny warehouse of Aerodyne Industries, but like the shittier version of that.
Yeah. He does it in a movie like this where he was so on the headset and on and off the headset and like talking to everybody. And then, but I was like, he's going to fuck it up or something. But he never did.
Yeah.
And that guy manages to scam her out of all of her savings and stuff, including $2 million that she had. She was like a signatory on an account or something for a charity, an educational charity that they were also able to drain. But Jason Statham brings this woman her honey, but instead finds her dead. She shot herself, I believe. Yeah, shot herself.
Shot herself.
Yep.
It's honestly like set up and shot in a way where it seems like it's supposed to be kind of weird and suspicious. But as far as we can tell, no, that's what happened.
Yeah, and he like walks into the house because he knows she's supposed to be there, and like he could tell something's up. She had like food on the oven, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But then her daughter shows up right behind him as he picks up, because he has a knife that he was going to use to have to kill everybody in the house that he assumes was there. The daughter there, played by Allison from Umbrella Academy, and she is an FBI agent. And she's like, "You killed my mom," and he's like, "I'm sorry about that, but no." Then she takes him outside, and he's like, "See," and then she's like, "Yeah, I guess," and they let him go. He goes back to the house and talks with her for a little bit. And they have a talk about like, oh, your daughter, she loved you, but you never called. You should call more. And she's like, I'm drunk all the time. That's my whole thing. I'm very upset and I'm kind of a bum. And I don't want you to do beekeeper stuff or whatever. He's going to say like, I'm going to go do beekeeper stuff, but she's not automatically like, I could tell you're a special forces guy or something. She's confused by him, as you would be if you found out your grandma was hanging out with Jason Statham. But like not suspicious enough. So he figures out what happened. He like calls his beekeeper friends because he does still have some connection to whatever the agency is from John Wick, which is a bunch of like women in switchboards and 50s clothes kind of. But this is just like a lady in front of a computer who types like emoticons to you or whatever. I don't know. But he's like, tell me where the scammers live. And she's like, all right, I will. So then she does. She gives him the address. She says it's connected to a lot of stuff. They have lots of little, a lot of activity going on. So you're kind of supposed to believe that it's connected to something. I don't know if we really know what yet. But then Jason Statham brings two big canisters to this place that are at this point, I believe, gasoline.
Yes.
Yeah. And I kind of just in the trailer thought it would be honey, but he's pouring it out. I'm like, that would take way longer. But the honey thing will come later. But he just basically goes there. He does what he's going to do in every scene, which is he walks up to some security guys and he says, "Hi, I'm Jason Statham. I'm here to kill everybody." And they say, "Ha ha ha." And then he pulls out their guns and punches them, and then they fall over, and then he walks into the thing. He does this here, and then he goes up to the front desk lady and he's like, "By the way, I'm going to burn the building down, so let everybody go." And then he goes into this, like rave party thing, and the guy who scammed her is like, "Fuck you, you can't even kill all of us." And he's like, "Yes, I can. And you guys all have to pledge to be nice now, please." And they all say, "Ha ha ha." And then he bashes one of their heads in, and then he lights the whole place on fire and leaves. The whole place explodes. Very exciting. He drives away. Everything's fine.
All the security cameras and all the servers, everything burned. It all burned up. Nothing, no trace.
There was no like cloud backup or server or anything. Nope, it's all gone.
And it's interesting because this guy, the guy who was the main scammer, he like saw him, like they met. So he kind of knows what this guy looks like, but he doesn't really know anything else. So he calls his boss, who turns out to be Josh Hutcherson, who's like a little fuckboy. Kind of his deal is seems to be rich and connected or something. And for some reason, he's also the boss of these guys. He has a big organization too. There's like 20 other guys doing scams in different places. The guy's like, "Hey, boss, the guy came in and exploded us all." And he's like, "Did you find him?" And Josh Hutcherson's like, "You find him. Just look through all the old ladies that you were scamming and see if he lives in one of their houses." So then he's like, "All right." And they go and they do that and they find him immediately. And then he kills all those guys that go to find him, cuts off the main scammer's fingers, calls Josh Hutcherson from his phone, and then kind of talks to Josh Hutcherson, does this little Jason Statham, like, "Stop scamming old ladies. I'm going to kill you." Throws this guy off the bridge with the car. And then he's like on a path of revenge, blah, 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 whatever the IMDb summary says. We check in on the cop every so often who's like, "What's this guy's deal? Is he a beekeeper or something?" I don't know. She's like just there, kind of having a no nonsense chat with her kind of silly partner who is also there. We do probably see Jeremy Irons for the first time around now. And he does that John Wick thing where he's like, "Oh my God, you killed a beekeeper. Those guys are the best, sickest guys you've ever seen. They can kill everybody and nobody even knows who they are." And it's kind of confusing because you're like, well, then what is this then? Like, it kind of seems like this is like a Wolverine situation where like it was like a little closet guy, like some guys were doing stuff in the, off to the side and nobody really knew what it was. And someone's like, "You're making beekeepers, you're shut down." But they are still going, right? Because they put out
Yeah.
Well, it
doesn't make any sense.
One beekeeper at a time.
Oh, but that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, because she does say she's his replacement, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Consider. So yeah, I guess there's one beekeeper.
But he's retired.
He has been retired. It seems like for a while too.
So is there a current beekeeper?
I think it's her.
We meet her.
Yeah, she died though. But like it's that.
Right, yeah, but okay, all right.
Yeah. So she
she dies in the movie.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Irons is like, "Oh, it's a beekeeper. I'll call my friends and like try to maybe get him to go away," because Jeremy Irons is connected to some sort of national security, something.
He says in his second scene, I think, that he used to be director of the CIA.
That's
so we
right.
do know that about him.
Yeah, and he works for a private security company now, and like they do stuff. And he seems to be like Lil Fail Son's handler. He's not related to him, but you're like, he says a couple times, like, "I took this job to watch over you because I love your mother so much," or whatever. And you're like, "What are you? Just you're not his?" And it'll get explained later. He calls the beekeepers, and the beekeepers are like, "Okay, we'll kill him." And they send this beekeeper lady in with a car and a gun, and then a humongous gun on the car. She fights John Wick or Jason Statham or whatever at a gas station. This is where he throws honey on her, which was the honey that was supposed to be for the Fleischer Rashad. Sets her on fire. This is the honey is flammable as fuck thing.
Yeah.
This is where
this fight starts, and you're like, "Oh, she's also a beekeeper who are these incredible super badasses."
Right.
So this will be his most dogged opponent who he has trouble with. And no.
Yeah, and also like she's a beekeeper, and like I guess the beekeepers are both like super assassins, but they're also like, with him at least, you're like, oh, he's kind of a spy too or something, where like he knows how to sneak into buildings and put on a disguise or whatever. she is like a character from Overwatch or something. Like, I don't think they can fulfill the same role, but maybe like the organization has changed a lot since he left. I don't know.
The standards fucking plummeted.
Yeah, right. Like and that happens in organization when like there's a lot of turnover. So, you know, that it all adds up. He kills her. Allison from Umbrella Academy shows up there and she's like, oh, this is that beekeeper guy. I see now, honey, bees. I get it. And she figures out that he's going to Boston because that is the next place in line of all these murders that keeps happening. She also goes back. She investigates the murders at the mom's place because the mom's place also goes up in flames. And that's a pretty funny little transition. We'll get to it. But then Jason Statham's like, I'm going to kill all the other guys. So he does that thing again where he goes in the room and says, I'm going to kill all your guys. This is similar, but slightly older guy is in charge of the scheme this time. And he's doing the exact same thing. Jason Statham throws him through a window and then kind of figures out that this character that he's been kind of looking for is Josh Hutcherson. This isn't information that is useful for us yet. Because like, and there's this whole thing where every so often there will be a character that's like a beekeeper's coming and then someone else will send a bunch of security or cops will show up and then somebody else will be like, we don't need any cops. We could kill one beekeeper. And then he kills all of them. But so this scene ends and then the regular cops show up who are outside because they weren't allowed to do beekeeper stuff. And Allison looks at his computer, this guy's computer, and sees a picture of the fail son, Josh Hutcherson, with some, people at a club or something. And she's
it's
like,
with the guy who runs this Discovery.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It would be weird if it was just some picture of him like on his desktop. There are these in the picture as well. Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's him. And this is where we get the reveal that he is the president's son. The president is she was some sort of contractor with it's like security company that worked with the government who Danforth, I remember is their name. Cause I remember hearing that and being like, that's a name you could have if you ran for president. Like we would accept that in America. And she's like in charge. At this point, Josh Hutcherson starts calling her and is like, hey, can you kill a beekeeper for me? And she's like, absolutely not, you dumbass. I have a party in Boston. You could come to that or whatever. There'll be lots of cops there. Allison keeps meeting Jason Statham and going like, oh, are you going to do justice or are you going to follow the rules? And he's like, I'm going to do justice because justice is better than rules. At one point that's in the trailer that I think I dreamt, but I also think I may have seen it in the trailer before I dreamt it, where she says, there we have laws for this. And he says, there are laws. And then when those laws fail, that's when I do my beekeeper stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, that's sure, whatever. He's Rambo and it's fine. He sneaks into this whole thing. It's a big party in like a fancy, Nantucket like villa. And there's lots of security guards and the president, Jeremy Irons, Josh Hutcherson, they're all there.
The Secret Service, the president's security guards.
Yep. Everybody you could possibly imagine. They've closed every, entrance. It's great. They have a sweet setup. Jason Statham is able to get through all of them by being even better than them at beekeeper stuff. And he like sneaks under the train or the car and then puts on a little outfit and throws some bombs or whatever. We learn that the bad guys have hired some guy who is even better at special forces stuff than everyone they've hired so far. And he says that he has fought. Yeah, I don't know. He's also kind of got an Overwatch thing going on, but he's also fought a beekeeper before and like killed him, but he cut off his leg, but he got lucky. So like this guy maybe can kill him. I mean, we know he can't, but like he's going to be trouble. Jason Statham does this whole thing. He goes into every room and says, hi, I'm going to kill you. Kills this guy after like fighting him for like 5 minutes in a hallway. Danforth, the president, is like, I'm so tired of you and your bullshit. I'm just going to tell everybody what you did. What did he do? Well, he took some of this security software that was like secret CIA security software and used it to target the vulnerable old ladies that he was going to scam out of their pensions. And this is all of her fundraising is connected to this. So it's going to sink her campaign, but she's so cool and honorable that she's just going to tell the truth because fuck him. And he's getting real desperate. Jeremy Irons talks to Jason Statham. They're in a room together. I'm supposed to believe maybe. And then he kind of lets him go. And then he kills Josh Hutcherson right before Josh Hutcherson almost kills his mom because he's like losing it. then
we're gonna need to talk about that because that's fucking insane.
I love it. I kind of wish he kept going and like made it all the way to the top, but he didn't, because Jason Statham shoots him and he dies. Mom's sad. Jason Statham talks to the cop one more time and is like, hey, look at all this justice. And then he disappears. And then the movie just ends very abruptly. Yeah, that's it. I want to say there's like a little bit more stuff with like the partner's an alcoholic or something. And yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Jason Statham or Jeremy Irons hates the kid. Everybody hates the kid because he's annoying. But yeah, and if you're like, how does he fight these guys? Beekeeper stuff is just karate. And he picks it. He runs up to everybody and takes your gun away and then punches you. And then as you're the next guy pulling your gun up to shoot him from 1 inch away, he grabs that gun and throws it. And there's some pretty crazy shit he does with people, like tossing guys into other guys. That's like, if you fought a bunch of like 10-year-olds, what you would get away with. And it's pretty good. He almost dies too. He gets what should be a fatal stab wound, but the movie kind of forgets about it.
Stabbed in like the stomach, or
Yeah.
I think it might be like the kidney.
Yeah,
I feel like when he pulls out the knife, there's only like a little bit of blood. So I was like, oh, it's just the tip.
yeah. Apparently,
Right? Just a little.
Yeah, everyone
little
knows if
tip.
it's just the tip, it doesn't count.
it doesn't count.
Exactly.
And for beekeepers specifically.
Yeah. They have special like exoskeletons that protect them from knives and stuff.
Oh, I did forget one detail that I think is pretty funny. So they go to kill when the first like scammer guy goes to kill Beekeeper. He goes to the house and he sees Beekeeper. He's like, "Oh shit, it's Beekeeper! Let's go get him." And they go to find him in the barn. Before they do that, they take their guns and shoot all his bees. And it's like, oh, they really did just go right down the John Wick playbook of checking off all the boxes, and that was one of them. So, yeah, that's the Beekeeper. It's pretty much that. Do you guys have a favorite part of it? What's the best part?
It's the line. You have your laws, and then you have me.
Or
when the evil president's like, I must do what's right for the nation.
Yeah. Very honorable.
She has a
Makes you
face
think
turn.
maybe she's not an evil president.
That's right.
Think. My favorite part is when Jeremy Irons first hears that he's a beekeeper and just goes on about how fucked Josh Hutcherson is.
Yeah. See, like, this is my problem with this movie. I think everything like that where John Wick also did it, the John Wick version is usually better. Like that scene with the Russian mobster or whatever, who's like, "Oh my God, you're so fucked, Alfie Allen. You're gonna get killed a million ways because here's exactly what he does and why you should be scared of him." They really draw that out here, and I wish there was a little bit more urgency, but you know, it's fine. I liked all the bee stuff. We learned a lot about bees, about the hive and stuff. I'd like to believe there's some Secret Service guy who was just really into bees, you know? Like watched a bee documentary one day and then was like, we should make this the Secret Service.
The country being a hive is an interesting way to go with that.
Yeah.
The country is very much like a beehive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I guess it is.
Remember, I forget what the line is where he's talking to the daughter and he says something. She's like, you have to, what is it? She says something like, it's like a family. And he's like, yeah, like a hive. And it's like, does this guy only think about the world in bee terms? Like, is that the only way he can understand something?
That's how they indoctrinate you in beekeeper school.
Yeah.
You just learn so much about bees.
I loved when she was like, in this bee book, I read that there's a kind of bee called the Queen Slayer who will kill the queen if she produces defective male offspring. And I was like, what a conveniently on-the-nose fact you just read in that book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because there was a beekeeper book that was in the truck with the one who got honeyed to death. I don't remember. Is that his book or her book?
It's her book because it's her car.
Well, I couldn't tell if he threw it on there to like give him some breadcrumbs, but he probably didn't. You're right. But then it's really funny that she just has the bee handbook in her car.
Yeah,
if she ever needs to learn some bee stuff.
Yeah, because it's not like it's secret code or whatever.
Nope.
It seems to just really be about beekeeping.
Yeah, it seems like part of your CIA training is beekeeping. And like you are expected to keep that hobby up long after you leave the organization because of your commitment to the bit and like loving beekeeping so much. He's pretty good at it, you know?
The actual beekeeping. Yeah, did
His
they
honey
train you
looked
in that
nice.
as well?
Yeah, they must.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what the one CIA guy that started the whole program. He probably is really good at beekeeping. And like most of the CIA stuff like is regular stuff, Krav Maga and whatever, and then beekeeping lessons after that.
Like how the Kingsman theme started up because the guy who started its son just liked the King Arthur legend.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like there's also an element here. This movie's like right in the middle between John Wick and Kingsman. In terms of it's supposed to be like so wacky and like Beekeeper, that's pretty crazy. But also like, yeah, this guy's like a Superman who could kill anyone at any time. It's pretty weird. Yeah, I don't know. What do we think? Jason Statham, he's pretty good in it, right? He's okay.
He's doing his Jason Statham.
Yeah.
It seems to me this is a performance where he just kind of like showed up for the paycheck, but like even a like not trying that hard Jason Statham performance still pretty decent.
Yeah, it's not Harrison Ford, right? Like
no.
the mailing it in isn't so obvious.
I mean, yeah, Jeremy Irons is the king of the paycheck, and he was also doing like an actually, like this is a fine performance. It's not gonna win any awards, but like that is what they paid for. Good for them.
I believe Adam Clay that he cares about old people.
Yeah.
I very much believe that.
I believe that he cares about bees.
I definitely believe that he cares about bees. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you really could slot in any of the Jason Statham characters from those other 4 movies, and it would be this guy too. They could all be beekeepers, but just like water beekeeper or car beekeeper or Operation Fortune beekeeper.
Gun to your head. What's the name of him in the Meg? What's his character's name?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I want to say like Clarence, but it's not Clarence.
Clarence.
Oh God, it's something like weird.
I mean,
it's not Larry. What is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna die. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I pulled the trigger on both of you. You're dead. His name is Jonas Taylor.
Jonas. Yeah, because of the whale. Yeah.
My name is Jonas. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. I remember he's Lee Christmas.
Jonah.
I know, but like it's kind of like that. It's like a little bit like it. Yeah, and he's Lee Christmas in The Expendables and he's got a lot of pretty. This is maybe the most normal name his character's ever had.
Oh yeah, Adam Clay.
Clay.
Well, but it's not his real name though.
Right? Yeah. Do we ever find out what his real name is? Lee Christmas, maybe. But
yeah, maybe this is Lee Christmas, or maybe it's Deckard Shaw.
Exactly.
Or maybe it's Jonas Taylor. Honestly, this would fit as a thing any of those characters had done in their past.
Yeah, this might be Operation Fortune. Like this is, in Britain, they call it Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre or whatever. In America, we call it Beekeeper. Also, he's British in this. Again, I still don't understand. They keep putting him in these like secret American government spy organizations. And it's like, I guess he's really good at it. So I do understand why we keep hiring him for this. But like,
do you expect Americans to learn about MI6, Nando? Come on.
I mean, maybe they just don't have a lot of bees in that climate and had to be in America. I don't know where bees tend to live, but I don't know.
Like almost everywhere, but I don't
Not
really
as many
know.
as there used to be. That's what I hear.
Actually, that problem has largely been solved. The bee populations have recovered.
That's nice.
But it still circulates on the internet, so everyone thinks it's still really bad.
Yeah, I was watching something about bees, like, May, December. Yeah, that's about butterflies, but similar kind of situation where he fixes it by doing it himself. You think Jason Statham would be, do you think this is the toughest of the Jason Statham characters?
In the sense of like would beat up all the other Jason Statham characters?
Yeah, like if they all had to fight. This one has no flaws.
I feel like people forget like how insane his transporter character was.
Yeah.
But the third one, he was like deflecting missiles, and it's all the same character in all 3 movies.
He did a lot of backflips and like karate in those too, because that's when he was younger and like super ripped stuff.
Yeah. Do you guys remember his name in that one? By the way, that was also very very simple name. I feel like
it was Frank something, right?
Yeah, Frank Martin.
Yeah,
that was good.
I loved those when I was growing up.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think they're pretty good, like at being this, like a trashier version of this. At being this, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else about this movie that stood out besides stuff that's going to come up on the wheel? But like anything else that you're like, I enjoyed this part.
I'm ready for the wheel.
All right, we'll wheel it up. I'm going to spin the wheel again, or the first time. Well,
First
again,
time ever.
you know, I've spun the wheel
Again,
before.
in your life.
Yeah, not this
Yeah.
first wheel, but similar wheels. And I landed on one of, I think, I don't know, DJ's pandering to your audience. Is this DJ or
That's
Diggins?
me.
That's
It's Diggins? Okay, yeah.
It was so funny to me. So we all got familiar with the phrase geezer teaser when the Bruce Willis news came out,
Yep.
where you make these kind of generic sort of action-y movies because old people need something to watch while they're retired.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a strong feeling I got from this movie, which made it so much funnier when very early in the movie, Jason Statham looks directly into the camera and is like, old people are the most vulnerable people in our society. It's terrible when anybody scams an old person. It's like stealing from a child. It's actually worse than stealing from a child because a child's got parents who's supposed to care about them. Old people don't got anyone. So it's the worst sin imaginable to be mean to an old person. Also, you should call your mother more often.
Yeah.
She misses you.
All old people have are children who don't call them ever. It sucks. These children are terrible.
Oh, my God.
Mark Wahlberg, why are you pretending to be Jason Statham?
Mark Wahlberg would have tried so hard at this movie and it wouldn't have worked.
He could have been the tough guy Jeremy Irons character, maybe. Instead
Oh,
of the Jason Statham character.
I
Yeah,
think
or-
he could have been the fail son.
he could have been the pit boss or like the fail son second in command. That guy who like gets thrown through a window. I think I could see that. Maybe the next one, you know, I don't know. He could be in, they could cross this over with Shooter or Ted or whatever. I looked this up.
Father Stu Part 2.
Yeah, that's true. Father to be or something. To be Stu B or not Stu B. We'll get to it. I looked this up because I was curious. Jason Statham, 56 years old. Felicia Rashad, 75 years old. They're not that much older. Less than 20 years.
Yeah,
He's basically saying that thing about scamming old people about himself. You know?
Nah, he's like a beekeeper, though. He gets it. Although, could he get scammed like this if he was on a laptop? Be like, oi, I don't know.
Yeah, probably. It's probably happens to him a lot.
Maybe that's why
Here's
he
my
feels so
password.
strongly. Maybe like last year, he got scammed. And he was
Mhm.
willing to let it go, but then they scammed his friend, and he was like, that's too much.
Yeah, they scammed him for what? His beekeeper pension?
Right,
$30.
yeah.
I was like,
I mean, he doesn't even have like any accounts. So they probably got through all the scamming stuff and they were like, all right, give us your bank number. He's like, I don't have a bank. I have bees and then I sell honey, I guess, at a farmer's market or something. Would you buy honey from this man?
Yeah, why not?
yeah, it's true.
I'd think he was a spy or something. I'd be like, this guy's up to something.
Right, but well, I'm not buying illegal honey.
I guess
Like,
I'd
don't
assume the
care.
honey is poison or something. But
He seems trustworthy.
Well, I think it's funny. They do say that stuff about like he has no accounts. He's a ghost in the system. But also when he first gets arrested at the start, he's like, I have a signed lease with your mother.
yeah,
And
that's
I'm like,
true.
Can you get a sign? I mean, I guess it's really just an agreement between those two people. But like she had 0 questions.
Yeah. That's true. That's probably what it was.
You paid her in cash?
I mean, part of me a little bit kind of was like, are they fucking? Is that what the situation is like? Like
Oh.
he's keeping bees and she's keeping the bees, you know? That's like a relationship. And that would be funny if like he was secretly kind of the cops like kind of new father-in-law a little bit, you know?
He was a Gmail hunter.
Yeah. He's the G keeper. And he's got all the letters. Does honey look nice? The honey he was making. I remember when I saw that. I was like, that looks
No,
tasty.
yeah, I'd want to taste that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to taste Jason Statham's honey? Is what you're saying?
absolutely. 100%.
Give it to me now.
What about when he made that kind of like orange juice honey drink or whatever?
Yeah, what was that like a honey drink or was it just a fresh squeezed orange juice?
I
This
think it
band-
was just fresh squeezed orange juice, but because he was in the middle of all his beekeeping stuff, I was like, so is there also honey in that? What's going on?
Yeah. Is he also an orange farmer? But because that doesn't really fit with the beekeeper thing, he doesn't really talk about it as much.
Oh, it fits with the beekeeping thing because, like, you can grow oranges and have the bees pollinate the oranges.
That's true.
And then the honey has a slight orange, like, flavor to it because they've only pollinated orange plants.
Is that a real thing?
Do.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
no. I mean, you can get specialized honey, like lavender honey or other honeys, where the whole idea is like they only used pollen from a certain kind of plant, so it has kind of the flavor of that plant in it.
Man.
I've had truffle honey, but I think the truffle was added to the honey. I don't think
Truffles are mushrooms, so yeah, they don't have pollen.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they take the bees that are making that honey and rub them on one of the mushrooms every so often. Get that sweet mushroom juice.
If you started listing things to me and for me to guess 50-50 pollen or no pollen, I'm probably getting like 75% right. So like a quarter of those that I'm missing in terms of like, do they have pollen? So
I wish I could come up with some right now, but all the mushroom stuff are the hardest ones. I can't even think of anything that would be as hard. Like seaweed, does it have pollen?
I'm gonna guess no.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Look at that. Sometimes you don't know if things have pollen in it. I guess it's not that uncommon after all.
They
Well,
probably
I know
should
that
get some
mushrooms
pollen.
don't. I know that mushrooms famously are not plants.
You think you know, but
Yeah.
maybe you don't.
A beekeeper has to know all these things, but us normal people, we live in a comfortable world where we don't even have to learn bee facts. We let the Jason Stathams do all that work for us.
Our ivory towers.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, how old is Sylvester Stallone in real life? He's pretty old, right? He's like in his 70s.
I think he's like 78.
Yeah, he's older than Felicia Rashad, 77. So maybe that's his late Christmas's motivation in all those movies. Someone shoots at Barney and he's like, you shouldn't shoot at old people. They're as sad as can be. It's a really depressing guy I know.
Yeah, I feel like also while this was total pandering to the audience about how important old people are and how sad it is that no one loves them, I also feel like if he'd said that directly to Felicia Rashad, it would be pretty insulting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe Felicia Rashad is always complaining about, like, my daughter never calls me. She's the worst. I hate her so much or something. And
By the way, do either of you remember the daughter's name?
I just named her Allison because that's what she is in Umbrella Academy. I have no idea what this character's name is.
I also have no idea.
Verona.
Oh.
Huh.
Is that like
Like
bee
the
related
city?
in some way?
I don't know. It's the city in Italy.
I'm going to see if there's a kind of bees. Oh, yeah, there's a Verona honeybee. It's a thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
That was the reason.
Sorry, no, that's a Varroa honeybee or a Varroa honey mite or something. That is different. But you know what? There's probably some bees in that place. You said, you know,
Verona,
yeah, they probably got one or
like
two.
where
bees.
those two gentlemen are from.
Like the Gentleman from Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, the show and the movie,
That's right.
played by Theo James. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, well, we'll get to her character because I have a lot of questions about her. But something again, it's landed on one of mine. 10 minutes of phishing scam in a 90-minute movie. Saw a lot of that phishing scam.
Yeah.
It was like if they were trying to teach us how to do one, you know? It was pretty intense.
Yeah, set up your fake website so that when people click on it, it gives you access to their accounts.
Yep.
And then tell them to give you the password.
And that's their master password for everything. Every password is this password.
Yeah, he says that so confidently, and I'm like, you don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this guy, obviously he sucks, but also like he's so incredible at scams that he's willing to do them in front of other scammers like it's a stand-up routine or something. So
Yeah.
he knows he doesn't want to be, look like a fool in front of all of them.
Also, he so confidently goes from like talking to her like, all right, ma'am, now you're going to punch in your password. Clicks his headset. This fucking bitch is so fucking stupid. I'm about to take her all or maybe for all she's worth. What? Oh, shit. Click.
Yeah. Like, has this guy never seen like any sitcom that's ever made? Maybe the one Felicia Rashad was famously on. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that happened on that. But yeah, it's very.
It's a little awkward to go back to the one she was famously on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't come up as much, but she. Yeah, it's it's good. Not that sitcom, but that scene. There's just so much phishing scam in this movie. Have you guys ever watched any of those in real life?
No.
Phishing
It
scam?
would probably make me so depressed. Yeah.
Well, okay. So what I mean is there's people online who will fuck with the scammers and
Oh,
like
yeah.
pretend to be old
Oh.
grandmas and then like get to the end of the scam and then be like, all right, I'm gonna call the police and have the money taken by them. And then the scammers lose their minds because they're like, you know, they're gonna be poor or whatever.
Right.
It's pretty boring to watch. Like this would be boring to watch for the people that work there.
Well, that's
Yeah,
why they
yeah.
do it in a discovery zone so that it's more
Yeah.
safe.
Like lots of like equalizers in the background and stuff.
Mhm. Although he does tell them to turn that shit off.
Yeah. You figure he would be able to be in charge of what goes on the big giant screen, you know?
Yeah, who is putting that on if not you?
Yeah. Also, it seems like they kind of own this building. Like they don't, but they are private security guys are outside of it, like letting people in and out. So like, yeah, they're not like renting this from an actual bowling alley or something. I don't know what's going on with this organization.
I don't know. I don't know that those are necessarily their security guys out front. I think those are just building security, and then it's their security guys in the actual room.
See, I feel like you wouldn't have building security that intense unless those were specifically there to protect that, and they would know what that is. I assume. Just
Yeah.
two guys standing around with guns, like it's pretty serious. And
Yeah.
I think the lobby had a sign for whatever their company was called, like just as the sign, but it's just a room, so I don't know what they're doing in the rest of it.
I don't know. It seems like an office park to me or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
What else was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, because I was gonna say it's interesting that they do this scam this way, because the way that they do these scams in real life is they like make the old ladies go to CVS and buy a lot of like Apple gift cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad they didn't have to watch her do that in this movie. That would have been boring.
Very boring.
$2 million of Apple gift cards, please. Yeah, that guy sucks in this movie.
He does.
He's not a good guy.
He does the worst crime imaginable, be mean to an old person.
Yeah. And Jason Statham doesn't take him seriously, you know? He's like, Jason Statham shows up and makes all his guys pledge to be nice. And then I forget what he says.
I love that.
But
I love that so much.
It's great. And like, it's something, you know, Jason Statham, much like The Rock and these other action stars, has built a brand for himself that is like something that just shows up in all of these movies. And his is politeness. He's just very polite
Yes.
when he murders you and stuff. He wears a nice suit usually. It's interesting that that's the thing. But it's been working for him very well. So
Yeah.
who am I to judge? I do think it's weird. I don't know if this is a thing in Jason Statham movies, but he doesn't drink in this movie and like turns down alcohol specifically.
Yes.
Yes.
Is this a thing in Jason Statham movies just in general? Does he never drink in them?
I
He
don't-
probably does in the Meg.
I don't recall if he drinks in any of the other movies we've covered.
Yeah, like I can remember a scene in like Fast Hobbs and Shaw or whatever where he like beats someone to death with a champagne bottle. But like, I don't think he like finishes and like pours some champagne out for himself like The Rock would if he beat somebody up with like a bucket of Coronas or whatever. Like,
And I don't remember if he drinks anything after he finishes with Megan Fox in Expendables.
yeah. Or when they're at that bar, he like goes to the bar to get Barney's ring back, but he wasn't there the day that Barney got really drunk and lost the ring. He'll only go to a bar for a nice friend or something. It's just interesting. He plays these very put together characters, but they don't drink. What we need to do is get him one of those signature tequilas that he could sell in real life, and then he'll start drinking that. I guess.
Tequila or gin or
Yep.
vodka, you know.
Whatever, you know, thing is available to buy that day. He'll get that.
Probably be a whiskey for him because he's British. They have
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I could see gin, you know, Beefeater, and certain gins have a Britishness to them. Although you'd have to compete with Aviation Gin, which is probably the most famous of all of these branded movie star alcohols. So it's tough.
And Mint Mobile. Like,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
He could-
competing with both of those market shares. Impossible.
Yeah, he could do it. I think if anybody could, I think Jason Statham's a pretty big star. Like he seems like one of the only guys that can open a movie overseas like The Meg or like this and come up with something. Like he's doing something right. You know, he's not doing something right, you guys.
The
I
next
spun
spot on the wheel.
Yeah, the next spot on the wheel. I spun the wheel.
Yeah.
This is a quote. I lost my virginity in that barn.
Hey, yeah. So this is the daughter. What did we decide her name was? Abigail?
Verona.
Wow.
Verona, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Nando said something
Said
from
Allison.
Allison. Same
This
thing.
was
Right.
minutes ago, DJ.
And
no.
that's her Umbrella Academy name, I think. She's number 3.
Doesn't matter. So Ravona Renslayer, she is very mad that her mom killed herself after getting scammed like this, and is very accused of stories of Jason Statham, but they kind of get everything quickly. And then she's got her partner, whose name is
Other guy. Yeah, third
Yeah,
person in
that.
the movie.
and she's kind of going over like what all this means and stuff, and how like I guess because like Jason Statham is leasing out part of the barn, and how she feels about all this. She feels free to share the fact that she lost her virginity in that barn.
She does not say that to Jason Statham.
To her partner. She says it to her partner, right?
Yes.
Agent Matt Wiley.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because she's so upset that it burned down.
Yeah.
But like, is the place you lost your virginity so sacred?
Are you telling me that you don't think about the place where you lost your virginity every day?
If it burned down, I'd be okay with it.
And what would that place be?
No, stop.
I
How
am-
dare you.
I remember when the place I remember when the place that I lost my virginity in burned down. We were all watching it. It was Notre Dame. I was like, oh, it always happens. You always lose it. And then they fixed it though. They built it right back up.
I remember when we all watched the place where I lost my virginity. A plane ran right into it and it fell to the ground.
I remember when I lost my virginity in that big Hindenburg from the 20s. They said, don't have sex here, it'll explode the Hindenburg. And I said, fuck you, I'm a beekeeper. And I did it anyway.
The first time I had sex, I was in the cargo hold of a ship in a car that was being kept there, and the glass got all steamed up, and she put her hand up to the glass and it slid down. And then later it turned out the ship we were on was the Titanic and it sank. So I always think about that.
That's probably what she was saying in the movie as she floated away on that door. She's like, I lost my virginity in that Titanic. It's a bummer.
Guys, I remember the time I lost my virginity in that barn that burned down that caused the Great Chicago Fire.
Oh my God.
I lost my virginity in that barn.
Well, DJ, that's actually a myth that caused the Great Chicago Fire. It was just kind of a
really?
scapegoat. DJ did lose his virginity in that barn in Chicago.
Yeah.
But it really was just, just like a random fire that started and just spread because of the way Chicago was built.
It wasn't the cow that kicked over the thing in the barn. It wasn't.
No, it's a myth.
Okay.
No.
Well, I did lose my virginity in that barn.
Yeah, I'm sorry to make the place where you lost your virginity less special.
Yeah, meaningless.
I mean,
yeah.
that's, there's other places, that people, I don't know. I feel like if you lost your virginity in a place that burned to the ground, you would be like, that's a bummer. And then people would be like, yeah, it is a bummer. And you kind of maybe want them to go like, why? And they wouldn't ask why.
No,
you would never get that second question.
It's just a bummer when things burn down. I don't think people question it.
But in this scenario, your mom killed herself.
Yeah, yesterday.
And like, you're not like, oh, this is my childhood home. I had some great memories in that barn, right? Like, no.
Yeah, well, you got to say what those great memories are. And there you go.
I lost my virginity in that barn, and now some fucking guy is keeping bees in there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
I'm so mad. Also, my mom shot herself.
Yeah, also, like, I feel like this character doesn't fully not work for me, but I do think, because I was trying to describe her to Hannah, she's got like a vibe that would work with like any 80s action guy, any like John McClane. She's a cop who's really worn out and like doesn't take shit from nobody and, is drunk all the time and whatever. It's just weird that she's in a movie with this nice smiley guy who walks up to you and is like, hello, sir, I'm going to cut your head off. And like her vibe doesn't fit with him. It's like, you're not the nice one and you're not the one that's doing all the ass kicking. So like, what are you here for? And it's basically just so that other characters can talk about beekeepers that aren't him. But
yeah, I mean, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I will say.
And to deliver the point of the movie at the end, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is that extrajudicial killings are good.
Yes. As long as people are involved that are too close to the top, you can't trust them because they're all rich and connected or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Oh, now you're making it sound like something I do agree with.
Yeah, wait. Now that I think about it, what was the last Expendables movie about? Who was the bad guy in that?
It ended up being the guy that they were working for.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah, it was Andy Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it, Andy Garcia.
Yeah, Jason Statham frequently goes after the top and has to go all the way to the top. I think that's kind of what Hobbs and Shaw was. I've forgotten a lot about that one.
Well, they never get the guy all the way at the top.
Yeah,
they just
that's
fight
true.
his super soldier, Idris Elba.
That's right, Black Superman, Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm. The man who's an unstoppable killing machine, as long as he doesn't have to fight more than one person at a time.
That's right. He loves gold. I don't know if any of you guys caught up with that this week.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to him how hot the gold gets. Yeah, Jason Statham's good in this. I don't know. The daughter was okay. It's the only thing I've ever seen her in besides Umbrella Academy. But presumably she's done other things. So great. She was in that movie Dog. I've never seen that, but
Just Dog?
just Dog.
Is that the Channing Tatum one?
Yeah. It's one of those movies where there's
It's
a
a dog
dog
movie.
on the cover of it, and you're like, yeah, it could be any of them.
I
Is it
my controversial opinion, there has literally never been a good dog movie. Not a single one.
How dare you? I mean, I could list one right now.
Okay.
What's
Yeah.
the one? Beethoven. You ever see Beethoven?
Can't
Those
say
are
I
fun.
have.
What about Air Bud? You like Air Bud,
Oh
probably.
yeah, Airbud's great.
Air Bud is fun. I wouldn't
Yeah.
call it good.
I mean, my goodness, if you don't think Air Bud is good, I'm not going to convince you with Dog. What about Homeward Bound? That's a good movie. There's at least 2 dogs in there.
I think it's a dog and a cat. And is there another dog?
And 2 dogs. It's an older, like golden retriever, a younger kind of pit bull pug, kind of one of those dogs, and then a cat. Sassy is her name. She's very pretty. It's like one of those cats where you're like, that's a cat from it's just sometimes really fluffy cats. They're just they don't look like real cats. They look like computers generated cats. But yeah, it's a good movie. We should do that one of these days.
Right after we do Arthur the King, the Mark Wahlberg dog movie.
Yeah, one of the Mark Wahlberg dog movies. I think he's done a couple. But this one, so sometimes these are about a dog that can talk. I don't know if this dog one is one of those. I know the Arthur the King one is.
No, the Channing Tatum one is he's like a military veteran and he gets a dog who's mean and they learn to love each other or fucking whatever.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. Any beekeepers in it?
I haven't watched
Maybe.
it, so I mean, maybe it could happen.
It's possible. If there weren't, maybe that's why it didn't really hit, you know? They probably should have put at least one beekeeper in. I spun the wheel again, you guys. Landed on one of Diggins's, I think. It's Hiding Your Accent. This is also related to this part of the movie, but I do want to get to it before we move on.
It's not really a major thing. It's just perhaps the most insane line of dialogue in the entire movie, where when the daughter and Jason Statham are talking for the first, after it's been cleared up that he didn't kill her mom, and they're just sort of reminiscing about Felicia Rashad. At one point she says to him, there's a bit of the British Isles hiding in your accent. And let me be clear here. Jason Statham isn't doing a different thing than normal. He's there talking yeah, I'm the beekeeper. I'll protect the hive. Oh, I'll miss your mum. She was the only person who ever cared for me. And I'm like, hiding? It's hiding in the accent?
Part of me when she said that was is British Isles something specific? Does that mean the same thing as saying a little Rhode Island in your accent? But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, that just means mostly all of those islands that are, the UK.
Yeah, if anything, it's more expansive because I believe it includes Ireland.
Yeah, what do you think? This is Wales? Allison, no. I sound like all those guys that I am. Have you ever seen a Guy Ritchie movie? The ones that I'm in? I sound like that. It's very specific. It's frequently done as an impression. Everybody knows what it sounds like. That is an insane line. Do you think this was written for a different actor that did have that kind of accent? They forgot to take it out of the script or something? I don't know.
Possibly.
Or do you think that was supposed to be she's really drunk right now? She's trying to really put something together, and she's like, "You sound really British to me."
Maybe
Sir.
it was like written sarcastic, and on the day of filming, they
Yeah.
like lost that note, and
It's
she
like
just
botched it.
ended up saying
Yeah.
it's sincere, and they're like, it's not important enough to go and reshoot.
Like Halle Berry in that X-Men movie where she didn't do the joke right or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that. It's just like,
The
That's
frog,
actually-
the lightning. Toad,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, what happened to yeah.
I don't know that there's a good way to deliver that joke in Halle Berry's defense.
so to be fair, first of all, this was supposed to be a runner where it was like characters were constantly getting struck by lightning and asking, what happens when this gets struck by lightning or whatever. And she said it in the end movie, but her delivery is supposed to be more kind of like same thing that's everything else, and then electricity. It's very Joss Whedon-y. He wrote that line, and it shows. You know, but it's not in the movie anymore. So I mean, it's in the movie, but not in a way that works. I do think this would be a fun thing to say to Jason Statham if we ever met him. You know, like, you got a little British in your accent there, boy. What's going on with you?
Boy, what are you, one of the security guards? You're supposed to keep him out where you
Yeah.
see him and you're like, clearly this like 6 foot jacked guy with carrying things of gasoline is just a pushover that I can just call anything I want.
Stand aside, sir. We're not allowing guys with big guns and gasoline and stuff into this building. There's crime being done. Go on your way.
You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I just can't get over how good Jason Statham is in movies though. I do really like him. Like, because all those movies we named, like, they're not very good, but like they kind of work. And yeah.
I mean, I think I said in the Expendables 4 podcast that the only part of the movie I like is the part where everyone leaves the movie besides Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or the part where he has sex with Megan Fox and then
Right. And goes down on her like a true king.
yeah, like a hero.
Goddamn right.
You think a beekeeper would? Probably. He's very generous, I'm assuming, in the bedroom.
I would think he's a generous lover. I mean, bees are a matriarchal society, right?
That's true. Especially
true.
if he's with an older woman. Then he'd probably like, as out of respect for you, miss, I will go and do the business.
Guys, sorry, podcast listeners, I need you to know that as Nando said that, he also did a salute.
Jason Statham salutes everybody that he goes down on, probably.
Oh
We
my
don't
God.
see it in the Expendables movie because she pushes his head out of frame.
That's something he and Jiminy Cricket have in common.
Yeah, exactly. He's a beekeeper and Jiminy Cricket's a cricket. They all have like similar mannerisms. I spun the wheel again, you guys. It landed on Twinkies, the official snack of the FBI.
Hell yeah.
On DJs are Twinkies. I can't remember the Twinkie part.
Blink and you miss it, but this is more to kind of talk about the big middle where we're just dealing with the cops for way too
Yeah.
long. But like we had like several scenes where, like we said earlier, right? We see Jason Statham do incredible beekeeper stuff, and then like he burns down the call center, and then the FBI agents are like, this call center's been burned down. There's no footage or anything. We don't know who did it. It's just so messed up. And like it's like, all right, I guess they'll catch up eventually. But one night they're there late. And they're talking back and forth. And like in the shot by the guy, there's like a huge box of Twinkies. And I don't remember a lot of SpawnCon in here, but I'm like, wow, the movie was like, who can we get some money from? And they're like, ask Twinkies if they'll be in front of the cops. And they're like, absolutely, we will be. You put these snacks right in front of the cops. It's like big boxes of them.
I do remember that, though. That did happen. And you know what? Kind of want a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Kind of
All
want
right.
a Twinkie.
They
So it
always...
works.
That's
Money
the thing,
well
though.
spent, hostess.
Hostess I don't want to tell Hostess that I do their job. I've had that thought too, not about this movie, but in general, I've seen Twinkies on TV and I've been like, I'd like a Twinkie right now. Every single time I've ever bought one, as I'm putting it in my mouth, I'm like, oh, never mind. This isn't good though. There's a reason I don't eat these normally.
Absolutely. No, it would not be worth it.
It's not good. Yeah.
But I do kind of want one.
I know. Yeah, that is the allure. They're so nice looking. Like they look so tasty.
The memory of a Twinkie is so much better than the actual experience of one. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. I will say, because I was kind of looking up cops and Twinkies, is there any connection? That is what the cop from Die Hard is buying. Al. It's just a bunch of Twinkies. Yeah. So maybe that's why. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest Twinkie marketing has to be Zombieland, right?
Yeah, that
It's
really
like a whole
did it.
subplot of that movie.
And it's a lie. They don't last that long. Like they last longer than most food, but it's still like I forget how long they were supposed to have lasted in that movie, but that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, it wasn't a real Twinkie he was eating at the end because Woody Harrelson is a vegan.
that's true. Yeah.
Twinkies aren't vegan.
Now they have milk.
Mhm.
I know they seem like one of those things where it's like you'd think there's milk, but it's just like salt. You know,
Yeah,
like they've done so
like-
much science, it's barely anything, but it is.
Yeah, well, Oreos are vegan, right? Like,
Yeah, I think
Oreos
so.
are vegan. That's all
Yes.
chemicals.
Because
Yeah.
they don't use actual gel, unlike many other cream cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's why I assume just like, oh, it's probably chemicals. It's just all chemicals.
It's a fair point.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that I thought about it, Twinkies in movies. Twinkies also
Ghostbusters.
a big part of Ghostbusters. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
there's,
true.
there's a lot of good Twinkies.
Did that come back around in Afterlife where they like remembered
Oh,
Twinkie?
I bet. Oh, I'm sure there was some sort of weird Twinkie you could buy with like a picture of podcast on it or something. You know, like
God.
much like the Madam Web,
Yeah. the
Gatorade
Ocean
or whatever.
Spray.
Ocean Spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at this main ingredients list of Twinkies,
Mhm.
and
Yeah?
they don't have milk, but they do have eggs.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Yeah. There's the veganism.
Okay, hold on a second. All right. Well, if you look up movies tagged with the word Twinkie on IMDb, Ghostbusters Afterlife is the first one. So
Oh, no.
I think there is some Twinkies in that. I'm gonna look it up.
I know there was like the crunch wrapper or something that was like in his pocket. They pulled that out or whatever from the first movie.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
so it's one of those kind of things. I think they find it in the glove box for the car.
They find the
um,
Twinkie?
Yes,
That's stupid.
I think that's right.
Egon wasn't carrying that shit around.
He put it in the
Like-
car. And also,
Keep
yes,
this
he
for
was.
later.
He was always holding all the things that you kind of remember Ghostbusters having. You know, he always had them in his pockets within distance, so he could always just grab them.
Oh man,
I mean,
I can't believe we have to do another Ghostbusters movie this year. That's
know.
fucking crazy.
God.
maybe there'll be another strike or something, and they'll delay it. I'm not pro strikes, although I mean I'm pro strikes in terms of like I want workers to get what they want. I don't want to force some strikes, but if there was ever a time, Hollywood, Ghostbusters Afterlife comes out in March. It's really soon.
March?
Yeah, let us please have a Madam Web marketing thing. I want that in February, but in March you can turn off movies for a couple of days. It'll be okay.
Just make it all about podcasts. I want podcasts on Hot Wings. I want podcasts on
yeah.
SNL.
God.
I want podcasts everywhere.
They
Podcast on all the podcasts. You know,
Not
Yeah.
every podcast. He has to go on every podcast.
I mean, we could have him on our podcast now, so I think we could. I don't know if we could
Oh,
get
yeah.
him, but like,
there's no way we could get him.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's probably really available.
He'd be like, "I'll do it," and then he'd listen to our episode about the other one, and he'd be like, "Never mind, guys.
Never
Sorry."
mind. I don't really want to talk about that time Dan Aykroyd got a blowjob from a
Yeah,
ghost.
yeah, that too. He probably wouldn't be a huge fan.
How does that come up every episode, even the not Ghostbusters related episodes?
Because we talk about Ghostbusters, and every time we talk about Ghostbusters, we talk about that time Dan Aykroyd got a blowjob from a ghost.
And Twinkies. Now, Twinkies are always going to lead us back to Ghostbusters. Like if we ever do, for instance, a movie, if we ever do The Replacements or X-Men Apocalypse, we've probably already done that. Mortal Engines, then we're going to have to talk about Twinkies again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of FBI, there's a lot of cops in this movie.
Yeah.
In the beginning, at least. There's a lot less by the end of it. Jason
The
Statham.
cops turn into military. We start with cops, then we get to military.
Yeah.
Well, they're never military. They're Secret Service and FBI. That's not military.
All right, sure. They wear the camo, and I'm like, you're military.
Well, some of the guys are SEAL Team 6, right? Like they're described as being members of SEAL
Oh.
Team 6, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, those are former members who are hired by Jeremy Irons as like
yeah.
private
Right.
security.
Yeah.
When will it be too much time for that reference to be relevant? Because, like, if it's like 10 years from now, if you're hiring SEAL Team 6 guys, those guys are old.
Yeah.
Like, they're old. Like, how much more time do those guys have? Or does that reference have?
Is that not a thing that still exists, that SEAL team?
I mean, like SEAL Team 6 exists, but it would be like saying like, wow, he's on the Chicago Bulls. And then you're like, well, yeah, but not the 92 Chicago Bulls. Like, you know,
right, exactly.
One of the more
right?
recent ones.
Like, I'm sure it does exist, but everyone knows of it from that one thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, you guys.
I'm pretty sure I'd heard of them before that one thing.
I mean, I've heard of the Chicago Bulls before, for sure.
Here's what I'm saying. They don't put it in the movie if they didn't do that one thing.
Yeah.
Like SEAL Team 6 is not referenced.
I think SEAL Team 6 is like an elite, like military unit.
All right, we're going to look this up.
I don't think it's because they did that one thing. I think it's because it's a military unit that's supposed to be hard to get into. It'd be like saying they were Marines, except even more exclusive.
Or Navy SEALs, right?
Yeah.
Just say Navy SEALs. Like they're all former Navy SEAls.
Yeah.
So it seems like these guys did stuff during like the Iran hostage crisis. Okay. It seems like that's when they came up with the SEAL Team 6 whole thing. Because it's called the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, also abbreviated as DevGRU, and commonly known as SEAL Team 6. So I don't know why it's 6. I don't think there's 6 of them.
Because the first 5 died.
Or that. Yeah, I don't think there's also 5 other SEAL teams, which is what I would expect. But yeah, there's a...
They just kept sending in SEAL teams into Iran until one of them could finally rescue those hostages. And the 6th one did it.
I mean, good for them, you know. Somebody had to. And I've watched Argo. What happened in that? They like really just dramatically escape on a plane or something at the last possible second.
That's actually all made up.
Yeah.
It actually was a pretty smooth exit.
Argo is the city that Supergirl's from. They never say that that's the movie they're making, but that's not the movie they're making in that movie, right? It's like something else.
No.
They're not like...
Supergirl?
Yeah, they're not like pitching a Supergirl movie, but they couldn't call it that because they don't have the rights to Supergirl, so they call it Argo. Like this didn't...
I don't think so.
This didn't make...
What, like Smallville? Is like that?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I could see a world where, in reality, they did a Supergirl. They pretended they were executives making a Supergirl movie. But then, when they made the movie about it, they couldn't use Supergirl. So they just called it Argo instead, as a reference to the city where Supergirl lives. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
Probably isn't what happened. But it's weird that there was a science fiction movie called Argo. And it's not about the space person we all know from Argo. It's about
also
a different
not
Argo.
A science fiction movie.
I think it was a science fiction movie. Like, I think the movie that they are making in Argo is a science fiction movie, like a Buck Rogers movie. Yes,
in Argo.
That's right.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
that's the but Twinkies are pretty good.
Yeah, Twinkies, man.
Oh yeah, Twinkies.
The SEAL Team 6 guys, they're all dead, right? Like, what's his name kills a lot of them with headshots. And what's the most gruesome death do you think in this movie?
When he shoves the blunt shotgun barrel through a guy's chest.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
And he does something similar where he puts the shotgun in the guy's mouth. Remember that? The barrel, and like uses it to like crack his
off.
Yeah. I remember he uses the elevator, cut a guy in half. That was pretty good.
That was great.
That was
yeah.
Not a death, but when he uses like the little like chop saw, not chop saw, but you know, like
the table saw.
The bandsaw.
The bandsaw, yeah.
To take the guy's fingers off, that's not how that would have played out.
Unless
it was like hot, it was on fire, and it was so fast, but like there would have been so much more blood.
Yeah.
Cut through the bone with that.
Yeah, no.
It's not...
Like,
unless it was a lightsaber, that's not happening.
Yeah, no, it was like like a sphere of annihilation. It's just like his fingers went in and stopped existing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Exactly.
What if it was one of those fancy new ones where they have like lasers that protect your fingers, so the bandsaw immediately stops and he like
they protect your fingers by obliterating them from existence?
Well, no, they turn them on. Like, there's those new saws where, like, the table saw, if you accidentally put a finger in it, stops. It'd be funny if Jason Statham tried to cut his fingers off, but then it didn't work. That would be something that would happen in an Expendables, and he'd be like, oh, these damn kids with their fucking fancy technology.
Whoa, don't they ever need to fucking kill somebody who's invading their home? I don't know what actor I'm supposed to be, but I'm fucking pissed about this.
Danny DeVito, you're in these finally.
Hey,
my good friend from Twins.
Yeah, it's me. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger's character's twin brother, Danny DeVito.
Yeah. You had a baby. No, I had a baby. One of us had a baby.
You had a baby, and the baby was me.
That is definitely not what that movie was.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. That'd be so good though if that was
sure
the
I
movie.
remember running around in a diaper on the set of Mr. Mom or whatever the fuck it was called.
First of all, the movie is Junior, and second, that was what you were doing in your own time between takes. You were like, let me put on my little diaper. I gotta go run around and practice my lines for Space Jam or whatever else I'm doing these days.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. I got confused between the movie and my own free time in the 1980s.
As soon as they yelled cut, just the
clothes
come off,
came
the
flying
diaper
off.
goes on.
I only wore tearaway clothes on the set of Junior, so as soon as we were done, I could rip them right off and run around in my big adult diaper.
I mean, that's what the 80s were, you know? Hollywood in the 80s was crazy. You can't get away with that stuff now because of, like, you know, stories and camera phones and stuff. But back in the day, that was what that was all about.
That's how they did all the assaults. They
I mean,
so cameras.
They honestly, it was probably hard to even catch little, what's his name? Little Danny DeVito, you know, in his little baby diaper. Yeah, like you probably needed a full guy whose job was just to wrangle him, you know?
Yeah.
And
he got one of those hooks like the vaudeville canes.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And he's so plump that he like fits right in the crooks.
Yeah.
Get him right in there. Like a little Oompa Loompa.
Oh man, remember what was I thinking about with him the other day?
Jersey Mike's.
Is he from Jersey Mike's? Like,
he does all the commercials. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Good for him.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's. It's a Subway commercial, but with Jersey Mike's. You know, give me the everything. It's that. Yeah, it's a Jersey Mike's thing.
What kind of product would we expect him to sell to us? Like, submarine sandwich doesn't sound right, but it's also not wrong enough that I'm like, I wouldn't buy him one from him.
I mean, he would offer us an egg in these trying times.
Yeah, stuff like that. He's got such an interesting brand now of like weird and dirty.
Yeah, that, you know, and Magnum condoms or whatever.
And Magnum condoms, yeah. It's weird that, I mean, I love him so much. And
he's New Jersey's best like famous person.
He's from New Jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
A name like Danny DeVito? You kidding me?
Yeah, you know, we let some of those go to Long Island and stuff like that. You know, there's DeVitos all over the place.
It makes the Jersey Mike's thing make more sense.
Yeah, it does make more sense. Yes. It also makes all the rest of his things make more sense, like the Penguin and the Lorax. You're like, yeah, that's a Jersey guy right there. Oh, he's from Neptune. Wow.
Oh, wow, that's pretty close to me.
Yeah.
Or, you know, where I'm from.
He's pretty cool. I like him.
Yeah. Why on his IMDb does it say Children 3, including Lucy?
Like, if they're also actors, then they'll do that.
Oh, okay. I see.
Actors are just like otherwise notable. If they're Nepo babies.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucy DeVito, classic Nepo baby.
I mean, let's see. How's she doing? She
was in Jumanji: The Next Level.
I remember that movie.
She was Maiden. She was in Dumbo as Coat Check Girl.
He was in Dumbo as the guy who
owned
that's
Dumbo.
Nepo
baby. Oh, and he's in Jumanji. Oh my God, we're idiots.
Oh, yeah, he is in Jumanji.
I didn't watch Jumanji, so that's on you.
He's in there. He's not, it's weird because he's not one of the guys. He's like an old guy who they know or something in the second one. Yeah. So it's easy to forget.
Oh, he's one of the old guys who ends up in the game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In the first one, it's all kids. I can't remember why, but then the old, him and Danny Glover, I think, end up in the Jumanji in the second one too. But I don't think
they had a big fight and then they had a falling out.
Yeah.
And then they get together via the game. But I guess if Danny DeVito's in a big movie, he gets his daughter into the movie, which, you know, good for him.
Good for him, yeah.
That's good.
I mean, listen, you could do much worse as far as relatives are concerned. Like, I spun the wheel, landed on President Clint Trump. Let's talk about this. I read Biden for this one, right? Because like this is a Hunter Biden scenario if I've ever seen one. Although this is really also a Don Jr. scenario.
Son that does cocaine.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But the lady herself was very Hillary coded.
Yeah,
she's Hillary Clinton. Yeah, and then Trump is just the corruption part. And
Trump is being a business person who
Oh,
gave them-
right,
who,
yeah.
you know, had big company that they were supposed to sell off but didn't.
That's
Although
fair.
the movie later acts like it was like, I wanted to do it, and then like doesn't examine, so why didn't you?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like in its bid to be like, actually she was pretty okay this whole time.
Yeah, she was pretty okay apparently. She didn't want she wanted to do honesty instead of lies.
She didn't know about all the big crimes.
Didn't know about him. And she's an older woman, so she probably would not have been okay with harming the olds that we're supposed to value as society. What was the other thing we liked about her? I don't remember. She hated her son, I guess. That was fun. It's pretty awful.
But she would do anything for her son, because that's that's good of her.
I guess, including get murdered by him, which was on the table.
How is that? What was his plan for that?
How is that meant to help him?
I guess the plan, and I'm just spitballing here, you kill her and then you kill Jason Statham and then you pretend that Jason Statham killed her. And I mean, he's not the king, so he wouldn't like ascend to being the new president, but like you just get away with it. Does he
think that we have a hereditary system?
Yeah.
That if he kills her, he becomes president?
Yeah, I think he thinks that.
I do, yeah. And honestly, you know what? If that ever happened, I think I could be convinced it would work, you know? It's politics things. If people went on TV and they were like, I'm not a fan of this, but, we don't want to disrupt any norms, so we're going to let the fail son be king of America. I'd be like, God damn, Democrats just roll over on everything. But I guess that's what we're doing. You're going to go protest? No, what's the point? Just stay home.
It's how bad could he be?
Yeah,
right?
honestly,
it's fine. Congress, whatever.
Like all the presidents have sons that do Bitcoin scams and stuff. Like, if anything, he's gonna be not doing those now because he's doing president stuff. So
or just cocaine,
or just
cocaine.
He
won't care enough to do the job. He'll just be playing.
Which, as we've learned in real life, it will turn out totally fine and have no problems if someone who's fundamentally uninterested in doing any work
is president. Yeah.
What did we think of Josh Hutcherson in this movie?
I said I liked him.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I get that you could have filled in like a lot of people for that role, but like I don't know, I thought he did a pretty good job.
I don't know. I didn't dislike him in the movie, but I feel like he is not a Jason Statham type with enough natural charisma to elevate the not very good dialogue.
It kind of reminds me of a character that we saw in a movie last year who played, I would say, what is the kind of, I don't want to say more effective version of this because they were being different, but John Ralphio in Renfield playing the like coked up fail son of the whatever wolf crime family or something.
Right.
Like this doesn't quite feel like he would work for this because he's a little too
sillier.
old. Yeah, and he's a little sillier, but like something like that, I feel like is maybe what you'd expect from this. I don't think Josh Hutcherson was bad. I just don't think he's got the
juice.
I don't think this is a role for him.
Yeah.
He's more the quiet, sensitive baker boy or the poor downtrodden security guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are names in this movie besides Jason Statham, right? Mm-hmm. So like, it wasn't just like like the Meg, where it's like just get him and then people and then we're good.
I'm pretty sure at least one of those Chinese actors is also huge,
humongous, right, from Wolf Warrior.
Then that's my blind spot. But like either way, like there are movies where you just get the one guy and then Night Swim. You get you
got two guys. You got Wyatt Russell and Kerry Condon.
Oh my God! All right, well. My point is, you got Jeremy Irons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you could have subbed him out for anybody, right? And maybe then got someone more substantial in the fail son role, and then bump Josh down to the first bad guy role. Maybe he could have done it.
I think my problem with Josh, not problem with Josh, well, kind of. Josh, I feel like is doing a role like this is an artifact of the John Wick script, but I don't think we need him to be a fail son. Like this could just be Jeremy Irons' whole grift or something, you know? Like I don't think we needed Josh Hutcherson in this, especially because we already had two Josh Hutchersons that Jason Statham is already beaten up by the time he meets actual Josh Hutcherson. So,
and it would make more sense if the character who is apparently, pining for President Clint Trump is the one who does bad things to make sure that she gets what she wants, instead of the son who doesn't really seem to care about her very much.
Nah, yeah, he just wants to do drugs and
Eat hot
get
chip
coffee
and lie.
and stuff. Yeah, yeah. He yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate him in this, but I also didn't really have strong feelings about Jeremy Irons. I think I've just seen him do this too many times.
He came to get a paycheck.
Yeah,
He was very much in paycheck mode.
and I think like
I think he just got the fun lines, maybe, but I liked him.
See, I guess part of what I don't like, what kind of underwhelms me about him is like Jeremy Irons will like work for a paycheck in like Dungeons and Dragons and be amazing. And like, I feel like I don't want him to do Dungeons and Dragons here, but like, I don't know, more. I would have maybe liked a scene where he like freaks out a little bit more or something. I don't know. I just want a little bit more out of him. But yeah, the politics of this world they're fucked. What do you even say? Like, what happens on the news that day?
President's son is murdered president's son dies in tragic shooting accident.
Okay. Now that car exploded outside of this event too. And also it was way more Secret Servicey than usual. So like I feel like this would be a conspiracy immediately. You'd be like, well, and something's up.
Doesn't the president always have a press pool nearby just to capture like stuff like this? So yeah, that's true. I know Jason Statham wanted to bring balance to the Hive, but he might have fucked the Hive like 6 ways to Sunday.
Yeah, the Hive's in some trouble.
She's probably going to get a huge bump in the polls, though, like sympathy for having a son who got shot.
Yeah,
she's getting reelected for sure. Like she's getting. Well,
I don't think she's running right now. I think she was recently elected. It sounds like.
All right. Well, she'll be reelected when her.
Sympathy's going to run out by then.
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to say with her because according to Josh Hutcherson, she wasn't doing super well in the polls until he juiced her campaign up with extra Bitcoin money or whatever. So she might not be incredibly popular.
I'm not saying it's impossible that a little extra cash helped her turn things around, but it doesn't feel like it would be the fundamental problem.
How much money did fucking Meatball Ron blow in Iowa this last month? Like $70 million or something insane like that. Like no amount of money will win in these anymore. Like Mike Bloomberg spent $1 billion.
It's like not spending.
He got Guam. He bought Guam.
That's true. You can buy Guam. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you spend no money, then you're not going to win, probably. But spending money is just a prerequisite. It's just what you have to do.
That's fair.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, Josh Hutcherson seems like an idiot the entire time.
Yes.
Like, he's coke and he's just like burnout. But at the end, he's like, you were down 50 percentage points in these 20 counties, and I targeted them and made sure you won the election. It's like, whoa, like, are you a genius all of a sudden? Like, what is going on?
I had the same thought. Yeah, this character got way too competent out of nowhere for no reason. And, like... Yeah, this does.
Stop talking about county math. Like, come on now.
This feels like something that Jeremy Irons would say. Be like, yes, I was letting him do a stupid Bitcoin scam thing so that I could help you. But yeah, I mean, he was busy that day when they were filming the end, and he didn't want to show up, so they couldn't get him. Whatever.
Makes sense.
Also, this woman became president with like no greater aspiration. She just wanted to be president. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. What else do you want her to do? An astronaut next? Like,
DJ, what sort of person would only want to be president and have nothing they actually want to do?
It's supposed to fucking, I don't know, sail around the world. What other aspirations would she have?
I don't know, but she also goes at like good of the nation stuff at the end. It's like, we must tell them the truth because it's good. It's like, these don't track. Like,
I mean, that's also what you say when you know they're going to tell the truth anyway. Oh, I want to do it because I'm so good and loyal to America. And, you know, but maybe if they weren't going to find out, then things would be different.
I think there might be another wheel slice where we can talk about this more, but I do find the politics of this movie somewhat inscrutable.
Well, yeah, we can spin the wheel and land on Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid. That's one of Diggins's, I think. I already forgot what this one was for. You remember?
Oh, that's just for a general, like the fucking whenever people are talking about like a beekeeper. My God.
Yeah.
And there's like
Yeah.
a beekeeper.
there are several moments. There's the CIA, the new CDI director going like a beekeeper. There's Jeremy Irons going like, "Oh, you fucked up. You made a beekeeper mad." Like towards the FBI guy when
Yeah.
the daughter is like, "We think there's a beekeepers," and he's like, "We're not talking about that." There's just like a lot of people talking about beekeepers, and I don't. Here's a question. Why does the deputy FBI director know what the beekeepers are if the CIA, if the former head of the CIA is like, they didn't tell me about beekeepers when I became head of the CIA? How did you find out about it then? And also, why does the current head of the CIA know what the beekeepers are if they don't tell you about it when you become head of the CIA?
I think that the beekeeper, whoever the beekeeper was at the time, killed JFK.
Ooh, probably. You think Lee Harvey Oswald is B. Harvey Oswald or something?
And then the
think
next
that's probably
beekeeper, after he got arrested, killed B. Harvey Oswald.
And wasn't his name like B. Gordon? What's the name of the guy who shot Lee Harvey Oswald's name?
I think it might be something Ruby.
Ruby, yeah, Jack Ruby was the. Oh man, a lot of these guys blend together.
Guys, I'm telling you, it all connects.
I mean,
It
the
was
letter-
Jack Ruby.
It was Jack Ruby. Okay, yeah. So Jack Ruby. It's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, if you told me that the CIA killed, JFK, I'd be like, that's probably true or whatever. I wouldn't like be convinced. But if you told me one of the CIA's beekeepers killed JFK, I'd be like, that sounds too insane to not be exactly what happened. Like, it's such a perfect conspiracy. It's so specific, but also, I don't know, maybe Jeremy Irons was in charge of the CIA and he had a file on his desk called Beekeeper that he never opened because who gives a shit? He's got CIA stuff to deal with. Why is he going to worry about beekeepers? And then he found out a year or two later, like, oh no, that was actually our best spies. But
there's
I
only
mean, I
one of
assume
them.
there's only one at a time. Yeah. But there's like a whole room full of people that work for the beekeepers, right? Like that person that was on the phone with him, like there were other people.
Yeah, they're the worker
in that
bees.
room. Yeah. It's pretty good. Remember when he had like a weird little like signal cryptex thingy with a secret code that he popped into something? That was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Remember when he cut off the beekeeper lady's finger so that he could go to his secret beekeeper hideout?
Yeah.
I gotta
that
be
can't
honest.
work, right?
Because he had also cut off the one guy's fingers with the bandsaw or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For a second, I was like, does he just have a finger thing?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Maybe that's bees. Bees love to eat the fingers of other bees they kill or something. You can only know
I
that
don't-
if you read that one bee book.
I don't think bees got fingers. I'm willing to. I don't know this for sure, but I'm willing to speculate that there are no bee fingers.
Not anymore. They don't. After the beekeepers get to them, then the other bees get to them. They eat all their fingers up. Yum yum yum. I don't know. Yeah, bees probably don't have fingers. But yeah, I don't know. The word bee, it's a good word for stuff like this,
Hmm.
Remember the part where he's like, the guy goes in a to be or not to be? That's pretty specific, right? We're just there to tee up Jason Statham for a beeline. Like, you know what beekeepers are.
Beeline.
Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah.
Like how he made a
Very dumb.
beeline
That's
for the president's son.
That's right.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If anything, they didn't do enough bee puns in this movie.
Yeah, I could have done with
so many
more.
more.
No, I agree. I would have taken more. And they were like,
Left it all on the table.
they tried. Like, and they had like he used honey for murders. He kept talking about hornets. He smoked people out with hornets. He has a
Except he
book,
didn't
I guess.
really do that. He just went inside and killed them. That's not
Yeah, that's
smoking
true.
them out.
He said he described it to someone. So there's that.
Yeah, it's smoking them in, right? You're gonna
No, it's just
smoke
murder.
them, that'll kill. It's murder with smoke. It's smoke murder.
There
Yeah.
was no smoke. He just killed them.
It could have been though. It would have been pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know.
So
This
remember
movie's
when he
pretty good.
electrocuted those hornets at the start of the movie? Is that what you're supposed to do?
I mean, it has. There's no way they just went, we'll just do some of the bee stuff on set. We'll figure it out. Nobody's going to check then you're not going to get the whole beekeeping community to come to this movie and just really upset at us. Like, there were people that waited their whole lives.
Check us.
Yeah. No, I bet that's a thing. I bet they like had a bee guy that was like a consultant or something.
Bee consultant.
And knew. Yeah. I bet they did.
They had an actual beekeeper. They're like, oh, this is my easiest paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And now my quote's great whenever I do beekeeping again.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's probably an insane quote. I think there's only one more thing on the wheel, which is you want my NFTs, but I'm wondering if there was something I forgot that Diggins wanted to get to.
You said there was like another thing later.
Oh, I guess it's not a wheel slice, but I was talking about when we debate a certain property of this
Oh,
film.
yeah. That's kind of off the
that'll
wheel,
be that's fair. Yeah.
NFTs were mentioned.
This is mine. Yeah. So I love this. I love how a movie that can come out today can be so dated. So
yeah.
The first like mini boss that Jason Statham has to kill, that he cuts the fingers off with the bandsaw. This is like really early on, but it's like Jason Statham's about to kill him, and he's like, "No, man, listen, you want NFTs? I give you some NFTs, man. It'll be so sad. I'll give you NFTs, bro." And I'm like, how? The fact that this is in here is like crazy and embarrassing. They didn't even say crypto or Bitcoin.
He does say crypto.
He does say crypto later, but
right, but then he says NFT.
He does,
yeah.
No, in that scene, he says like, "I got crypto, NFTs, anything you want."
Right. I feel like the NFTs like remove all the credibility because NFTs are now fundamentally worthless, right?
Yeah, they're all completely worthless. Yep. I mean, they always were, but now everyone agrees. Finally,
they used to be cool. Everyone liked them.
I wish Jason Statham did a play on that. It's like, I don't want your NFT. Here's some NFB.
Yeah.
No fucking bullshit. And then like kills him or whatever.
I actually love that, DJ.
Yeah.
No fucking bullshit.
That was honestly better than 90% of the lines in this movie. The thing you just said.
No.
You could be a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
I probably, yeah. This will be great. I'll punch up some lines.
Well, that is one thing about this movie is like, not to discredit David Ayer, the genius who made the one version of Suicide Squad that everyone loves, but like we've said a lot about a lot of movies that have come out, like Wish, for example, that they seem like they were made by AI. This is the opposite of that, where it feels like it's made by a guy who like makes a movie like this, you know, and sits down at a table and types it all out, and it's just like a very workmanly, just competent B movie where you just have enough puns and just enough opportunities for Jason Statham to do stuff, but like in a coherent way that AI cannot yet capture. And I think we need to, celebrate that.
It'll get there. The technology will get to a point where it's like, give me a very purposeful script written like it was written by David Ayer, but make it seem like a guy did it. Like, not you, computer, like a guy did it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, I know exactly what you need. Here it is.
Yeah, you'll like plug in the action star and the one weird thing about the movie. So like it's about it's Dwayne Johnson, and he's the kite man, and he has a bunch of kites that he uses to do his assassins or something. And then we'll just give you that.
It's like, how many mundane jobs could you take and like make it that they're assassin? It's like, this summer Jason Statham is the paper boy.
Yeah, like the game.
Yeah,
the country's like
it's an adaptation of that game where the neighborhood is like going crazy. There's all sorts of chaos going down. People he's got to throw newspapers in the face of to stop them from like doing home invasions or whatever.
If you think about it, our nation's like a big giant newspaper. If everything starts to get out of whack, you don't understand what's going on. That's where they bring me to deliver justice.
Yeah, you know what they say: when it bleeds, it leads, or something. I think that's a newspaper pun. What other things the newspapers say is a crossword puzzle or something.
Hey, what do you
Garfield doesn't like Mondays?
What do you got in common with this newspaper? You're black and white and red.
Yeah. Yeah, there'd be a lot of stuff about the obituary section or something. Maybe he'd have a newspaper and he'd start filling out your obituary as he's talking to you.
I'll see you in the funny papers, kid.
Yeah.
Today in the sports section, batter up. And then just baseball bat to him. Yeah. All right. Let's make this movie. Let's call Jason Statham, pitch him on the Paperboy, and see what he says.
If this were a political cartoon right now, my newspaper would be labeled Justice. I would be labeled a concerned public. And you would be labeled probably the National Debt or something.
Well, then that's the other part of it. The bad guy would be some guy who's like Josh Hutcherson type works for it, but like somebody who's just like, we got to make all the news on Twitter so we can lie to people and nobody knows what anyone's saying about the world. And then I'll own the news. And there'll be this one newspaper that he has to destroy to get there. And it'll be the one that Jason Statham owns or something. Or it'll be a phishing scam that gets the Jason Statham's boss or something, and then that guy has a newspaper.
A phishing scam bankrupts the Detroit Free Press.
Yeah.
Jason Staham's like, no, I have to save them. Detroit would be a great setting for this kind of movie too.
Like the Dangerous Game movie that takes place
like
there.
all
We all
great
like that.
movies are set in Detroit.
Mhm. Speaking of Detroit, a place in America, is this movie woke?
No.
So here's the thing. This question hinges entirely on how you read the president character. And I feel like they very like mealy-mouthed, wishy-washy, like tried to thread the needle exactly where if you hate Joe Biden, you think it's supposed to be Joe Biden. And if you hate Trump, you're supposed to think it's Trump.
Yeah, it's true.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree, Diggins. Yeah.
My only other like detail is there something about like scammers taking on old people that appeals to the Fox News crowd or something. Like in a version of this is the idea that he's specifically protecting our greatest generation. Is that like an anti-woke hero? You know what I mean?
No, but I feel like nobody's in favor of old people getting scammed out of all of their money, though, right?
Raise his hand. Yeah. Someone's got to do it.
This is Diggins. This is just Diggins. Just because it's not woke doesn't mean it's anti-woke.
Yeah, I know. I guess if they're all right. Well, Josh Hutcherson is kind of like he's not woke though. He has like a fancy coffee with like oat milk in it and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, it's not a woke. If it was avocado toast, then maybe.
The cops are good guys. Jason Statham's like standing up for like American values.
But also, extrajudicial killings are good. We come down on at the end.
Is that's not woke?
I'm arguing for anti-woke because it says like sometime. Here's the thing. The premise of a lot of action movies like this is fundamentally conservative, where it's like following laws lets criminals go free. So sometimes you just have to kill people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's woke.
I don't think so either. I don't think it. I do think if the president was closer to Biden, then you'd have it. But they just it's two in the middle.
Can we do so like just jumping off this? Can we do a bonus because we forgot last week? Is Night Swim woke?
Well, Night Swim thinks that if you are disabled, then you should kill yourself for the good of your family. So I'm going to say no.
Night Swim also had corruption in Washington, though, or something, right? Like that one woman's son was like a senator or diplomat or something.
He was an aid ambassador or something.
Yeah,
but as far as we know, there's nothing wrong with him. His mom was possessed by the pool.
I mean, he
wanted to save his sister.
Yeah.
Actually,
he has the evil.
He's a hero.
No, he has the evil of the pool in him, and it's making decisions.
He has the black goo.
Yes, 100%.
So what you're saying is this Night Swim 2 will be about him spreading the pool at the National Mall.
Yes, exactly. I feel like, I don't think Night Swim is woke either.
I don't think so either.
The real question, when we skipped it, maybe would be, is Aquaman 2. Is Aquaman 2 woke?
Ooh. That's a tricky one. It's the wokest one of the three we talked about.
For sure.
That's like the closest.
You know what? I think it automatically becomes woke because it acknowledges that climate change is real.
Yeah,
and
that's
can
true.
be caused
That's
by
true.
like stuff that industry releases into the air. Like I think like in America, that makes you automatically woke.
Yeah, I agree. Aquaman 2 is woke.
So that's good that we got one woke one in.
All right, we got one woke.
About Wonka. Is Wonka woke? Probably not.
I wasn't there. But Woka.
It's anti-corporation, and pro chocolates. Although chocolate is a very different. Politically, it's all over the place in terms of other countries and where it comes from, but it managed to sidestep all the weird stuff by making the Oompa Loompa Hugh Grant. So skipped it.
But also it's kind of a musical, so woke.
That's true. It is kind of a musical. But it has Mr. Bean, and Mr. Bean doesn't like woke people. Everybody's too woke.
Yeah, Mr. Bean is like, if you're trying to be woke, then you can't do like comedy is naturally offensive. You can't have
Yeah.
a joke about a giraffe
Right.
being in a cathedral if you're worried about upsetting people.
Exactly. So
You can't have a joke about how a high up church figure thinks chocolate is neato if you're worried about
Yeah.
offending people.
that's right.
All right. So Wonka not.
Not, I wouldn't say Wonka. Yeah, Wonka's further from woke than a lot of these, which is good.
All right. So we got Aquaman 2, though.
Yeah, we got Aquaman 2.
All right.
Do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
I'd
I
love
would
to.
that.
All right, let's recommend some things to the fine people. DJ, what do you have to recommend?
I have another board game to rec this week. It's
Oh
been
my god.
big 2024 board game energy. Listen, if you don't like it, you can get out. No, just kidding. I just don't take in a lot of new media in terms of movies or like anything else like TV shows. So it's board games. So I can play it once and recommend it and just be done with it. So this week I'm recommending a game called Skyteam. Have either of you guys heard of this game?
No.
I've heard the word Skyteam.
Okay, fair enough. So in this game, it's a 2-person game. It's a dice placement game where one person's a co-pilot, the other person's a co-pilot, and you're trying to.
They're both co-pilots?
No, one is a pilot, one's a co-pilot. And you're rolling dice, putting them where they need to go to properly land the plane. And it's all like the minutia of like landing a plane, like making sure that you're level, deploying the flaps when you need to, making sure no doors fly off, right? Like all.
Yeah, is this just to teach us all how to land
very
planes in a
important.
couple of years?
A very important skill we've learned recently.
Is the Boeing 747 Max the expansion where like you have cards that's like the plane tells you it's up when it's down? The computer lied. What do you do now?
Now, I'm not crazy. That was the plane that, like, a couple years ago, also, they were like, it might crash sometimes, right?
Yeah, that was the one where like the instruments lied to you.
I think that was the Max 8, and this is the Max 9.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
getting worse. Just getting
Yeah.
worse.
Or better,
So
you know?
Depending on who you ask, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just gotta make sure all the bolts are like tightened on really good.
Mhm.
But so in this game, so you gotta do that. But the key is you can't speak to each other. So the dice have to go in certain places at certain times, but you kind of have to work with your co-pilot like silently to figure out, oh, like this is a good time that we should accelerate here. Oh, there's like a plane coming up there, we're gonna crash it, we gotta deploy the brakes. Oh, we gotta level because our planes are going too tilted, and you gotta do what you saw with kind of like feel. And like it's fun because after the game's over, it's like, why didn't you do this there and da da da. And I think it's really good because I think there's a lot of, especially cooperative 2-player games, it can become very like one person micromanages. Like, oh, if you do this move here and this move here and this move here, we will efficiently plot our way through the game.
Right.
But you literally cannot do that in this game, and I think it's kind of brilliant. Where it's forced like independence.
Plus, if you don't want to talk to your partner, it's a
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
however long it takes to play this game period, where you don't have to hear their voice.
Yeah, it's like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, that's true. So, and no arguments, just like totally perfect. So now, unlike my recommendation last week, which is like literally impossible to get, this is only kind of impossible to get.
We're improving.
This is developed by Hatchet Board Games. So if you Google it, Skyteam Hatchet Board Games, 2 T's. It's sold out, but they've been doing everything in waves. So if you just like to notify me and give it like a month, then it'll like probably be available. And there's like a lot. They have a video at the bottom that kind of shows the gameplay, really detailed, does a really good job. So it gives you a feel. It's a very simple game. It's not like very complex at all. But like it's a nice little thing for it's like, oh, if you and your partner want to play like a 20-minute game, like Michelle and I do this with like Dice Throne. Dice Throne's a game I've recommended before. That's just like a 1v1 PvP like Yahtzee dice rolling game, more or less. Kind of like press your luck. Like attack each other with like different weird characters. Actually, there's a Marvel version, Nando.
There
There's
is
a Marvel
Dice Throne.
I
It
haven't.
costs $200 or $100.
The cost is like insane. So,
Oh
like,
my god!
I've bought 2 boxes, but that's like lasted us. So like, I probably wouldn't buy more Dice Throne, but like, yeah, it's
The way you described it with like, oh yeah, you roll dice, so your partner rolls the dice. It's $100. How many dice are in this box? 1 million?
They actually include a real plane.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how they get you.
and real Avengers. They have Chris Hemsworth comes to your house to play it with you. We should all be
Yeah,
so lucky.
Dice Tone's a bit of a harder ass, but also prices. The game's only $30, so that's like for board games, you're not throwing down a ton of capital to play Skyteam, unlike Dice Throne. But yeah, so it's Hatchet Board Games again, not available right now, but like I signed up at the end of December and I just got my email like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it might take like 2 to 3 weeks. So if it's something that looks like you might be interested in, just throw the notify me. And then I think they're just doing it in waves. That's why what this game was it was out for a while and then it blew up at PAX. And then it was like, they were doing Instagram ads. So then it became impossible to get because it got really popular because it was like, oh, fun 2-player game. And that's a niche that some people like. So, that's my recommendation. Skyteam by Hatchet Board Games, and we'll do the thing where we all go around because we forgot to do that last week, where we all say what we recommended.
Yeah,
so you don't have to go back.
Which Roger did say we would forget to do, and he was correct.
Yeah.
Forgot.
It's pretty spot on. Yeah. So, Diggins, what do you have to recommend?
I just got 2 quick ones this week. One is one I forgot to do last week. Which is a few months ago, I think I had recommended a manga called Delicious in Dungeon as a sort of like fantasy, half like cooking series, where it's about a basic like an RPG, a group of RPG characters, basically, like standard fantasy, fighter, wizard, rogue, going through a dungeon, but they don't have any supplies, so they cook and eat the monsters in the dungeon. And like their very loving attention is paid to the process by which they prepare and cook these monsters. Anyway, I read that a while ago, and I had mentioned at the time that there was going to be an anime on Netflix, and it started last week. And unlike every other anime on Netflix, instead of dumping it all at once, they're actually doing weekly, like on one episode per week.
Oh, wow.
So there's only 2 episodes right now, probably 3 by the time you're hearing this. But easy to jump in because it's actually not a dump of like 26 episodes all at once. And it's I've read the whole manga, and I think it's a great story, start to finish. It's a finished manga, so they're just gonna, there's already an ending they have. It's not gonna go off the rail. Well, you might think it goes off the rails. I don't think it does. I think it stays pretty consistent throughout. But yeah, so that's currently airing. When do those episodes come out? Because I haven't really watched them as soon as they came out.
What's it called?
Delicious in Dungeon.
Delicious in Dungeon. Okay.
Yeah, you can find it on Netflix. You can watch it dubbed or subbed. If you watch it in English, so dubbed, then a person I imagine we're all at least passingly familiar with, Prosy D Sungwon Cho, who does funny skits on YouTube and has
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He voices Senshi, who is the like cook character in the show. Cool. And he's doing a great job. Like, he's very well suited for the role. But yeah, so that's Delicious in Dungeon. That's on Netflix right now. I think it's been a beautifully animated show adapting a very good story. So totally worth checking out. I also watched a movie this week, a movie that I've been getting advertised about and been wanting to see for months, and they finally released it in a way that makes sense. A little movie called American Fiction.
Oh yeah, is it any good?
I really liked it. Yeah, it's if you haven't seen it's a movie starring Jeffrey Wright as a writer.
Because his name is Wright.
Yeah, that's why they cast him.
That's smart.
He's kind of frustrated, but Jeffrey Wright is obviously a black man, and he is upset by the state of like to be successful as a black. He feels that to be successful as a black writer, you requires like doing like tragedy porn or poverty porn, like sad stories about people living in the ghetto and getting shot by police. So he, as a joke, writes this like really extreme, like ridiculous version of that and has his agent pitch it, but it actually sells and becomes very successful. And so it's him sort of, that's like the pitch of the movie. If you watch the trailer, a lot of the movie is actually not that. It's about his personal life, and like he has a mom who's like getting older and like needs help. He has a rough relationship with his brother who recently came out as gay and is like kind of indulging in a lot of reckless behavior he never got to do before. And yeah, so a lot of it is like kind of this family drama, and then the thing that they like all the advertising has been about is sort of the backdrop to it, which all leads to a greater point, because it's like at the same time as he has this problem, it's also being this movie about a very different Black experience. I think it like for reasons like that, like the things it's doing, it's both a very funny movie, but also a very surprisingly nuanced and thoughtful in ways that I didn't necessarily expect. So I very much enjoyed it. Also, speaking as a well-meaning white person, they're gonna get you, okay, and we deserve it.
Who's
So-
they? They're
The
coming
movies-
finally. The race war is beginning. Is that the way you describe
That's
that?
what I'm saying. No, you watch this movie, there's going to be a point where you're like, yeah, okay, I deserve that.
That's what you think, but no. See, I'm one of the good ones, so I'm actually going to be.
I'm an ally.
I'm going to salute the movie as I walk in and as I walk out. Like, thank you.
But no, that's American fiction. I very much enjoyed that. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to rec?
Oh yeah, I watched a bunch of things. Speaking of well-meaning whites, finished The Curse, loved it. I think it's very funny. Speaking of not so well-meaning whites, I watched Killers of the Flower Moon. Bummer. And I liked it kind of, but I agree. I want to say I saw one of the actors from Reservation Dogs. I always call it Reservoir Dogs. It's, you must know when you're making a show called Reservation Dogs that in people's heads,
I'm pretty
Reservoir
sure
Dogs
that
is gonna
was
come up.
deliberate.
Yeah. But yeah, so one of the actors from that show said she didn't, I don't know if she said she didn't like Killers of the Flower Moon, or she was just like, it's like 4 hours of the worst thing that ever happened to our people. So like, yeah, I didn't enjoy it. And I get that. But it's got Leonardo DiCaprio playing one of the dumbest characters that's ever existed. Like, just truly a absolute stone cold dummy who, like, I think it's pretty funny because like there's a lot of characters like this in like movies where it's like they do all these crazy things and like they're really bad things and they think they're a hero or whatever. And if you ask this guy, he's like, nah, I just really wanted money and this was what I had to do to get money. So obviously I did those things. It's crazy. I wouldn't say it's like, it's not like a funny movie the same way that like May December or some of the other Oscar movies this year are. It really is like kind of what you'd expect.
We don't know that they're Oscar movies yet. Those nominations haven't been released.
That's a good point. Maybe it'll get snubbed. That'd be so funny if they just completely ignore Killers of the Flower Moon. Just sorry, Marty, make a short movie this time, please. But yeah, no, that was good. I like The Curse a lot. I like Killers of the Flower Moon a lot. Finished Echo, didn't really like it. Started True Detective. Think that's very interesting, but it's just the first episode. It's doing a lot of weird things. We'll see. That's a show that really writes checks, in the beginning, and it's like been super hit or miss in terms of whether they are cashable checks. So we'll see. I also watched the video about Idris Elba's Gold commercial thing.
Yes,
that Dan Wilson made. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. You saw it, so you've seen it. CJ, have you seen it?
I saw that it existed. I haven't seen it.
It's an interesting story, because what is it with Idris Elba? What's his deal? Elba v. Block, his DJ career. Like, what is this man really like? Maybe it's gold. Maybe he really likes gold.
That's
They
his
just
thing.
psyched to talk about it. But yeah, he's interesting in it. But then, okay, so two things I watched that are new that I don't think we've talked about much yet. Watched a movie called Self-Reliance by the Jake Johnson, I think is his name, the guy from like New Girl and stuff, Jurassic World.
And
Biff Whiff is in it.
I was gonna say, Into the Spider-Verse.
And Into the Spider-Verse, that's true. But yeah, also Biff Whiff is in it. It's the only other movie I've seen him in where he's like a actual character. It's okay. It's fine. I didn't love it, but it's not going to change your life. I also watched a show. This is a show that people have been bugging me to watch for a while. And I think it was after book club, like the Nando Movies Patreon book club. Someone was just like, "You got to watch this." I was like, "All right, fine." I watched a show called Blue Eye Samurai. Have either of you guys watched this? I can't remember if it's come up yet.
I
have not watched it, but I have heard of it.
It's insane. It's so cool. Like, I don't think it's like the best show ever made or anything like that. Like it's very, it feels like it's an anime, first of all, like, or animated, I guess. It's not an anime. But it's animated, but it's also like they're going for like adult Game of Thrones. And it's, as far as the show and like content, the closest I think we've ever gotten to another Game of Thrones. In terms of like politics, flawed characters, sword fighting, all that stuff, but also sex. There's a lot of sex in it, which is kind of funny because they're little cartoons and they have little penises and stuff. So I would just say, before you sit down and watch this, be ready for that. It's not like a lot like in Game of Thrones where you're like, all right, we wrote this scene. Could this scene not be in a brothel? There's like, it's purposeful. But everything around that, I would say, is like awesome. Like all the actual, like the story is really cool. The fighting is very cool. The voice actors are great. They had such a good cast. Like Kenneth Branagh is in it as the bad guy, which is great. And like, I didn't love him in the beginning of the season, but as time goes on, I think he had a really fun role. And all the main characters are good too. I think it's great. I think you guys would both really like it. So I would recommend it to anybody that like watches the show. But like, yeah, don't watch it with your parents or something. Not because it's like pornography or anything, just it'll get awkward. But yeah. Besides that, what are we doing next week, you guys?
Good question. Are we finally doing Percy Jackson? Is it finally the time?
Yeah, you know what? It's a good time because it's show's still going on, right?
I think
Probably.
so.
That show that we're probably not going to end up doing because everyone's like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, we'll never do the show. I've seen the movies, so I do know there's quite a little bit of
now
silliness.
People say movies. There's more than one of those.
No, there's two. It's The Lightning Thief is the first one. The second one is like the Sea of something or whatever.
Could have sworn, gun to my head, would have said there was only one.
I mean, neither of them really hit, but the second one really didn't hit. But I have seen both of them. They're fine. Like, they're those little movies.
Are any of us Percy Jackson heads? Read the books?
Absolutely not.
No, I know people that have that really like them, and I think they seem fun. They seem like a kind of thing, like a like that like kind of knockoff Harry Potter, but like they seem maybe like the most effective one of those that people seem to have a real fondness for. So, if someone, I would never read it, but if someone was like, I'm a big fan of it, I might be like, okay, I get it. Those might be good. Versus like if someone was like, I love the Divergence, I'd be like, well, those probably aren't very good. Or like if they say Artemis Fowl, I'm like, there's no way that's good. Obviously, that's the highest form of art we've achieved as a culture. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we do Percy Jackson. It's pretty easy to find. I think it's probably in Disney Plus, right? The
yeah,
movies.
it's gotta be. Yeah, it's gotta
be.
Also, Doug, if you're out there,
Doug,
let us know if we're doing Entourage. If Doug does,
you have the power to be a hero.
You do have the power to be a hero, Doug. Exercise it by picking Entourage, like you said.
Doug, listen to me. Picking Entourage in this contest would be as bad as stealing from a child. Except it's even worse because a child has parents who are supposed to look out for them. There's nobody who looks out for podcast hosts.
Oh my God, we are the most persecuted minority in the whole world.
Nothing more than us.
Exactly.
Yep.
The weakest and most vulnerable in our society, podcast hosts.
If Doug does not present themselves within like a week, then a battle royale. I don't know what we're gonna.
I really don't know.
First, second, and third place. So Doug got third. So I don't know. I'll have to figure it out.
It's a conspiracy, There's something going on.
Doug appears to be somewhat active in the Discord, so I think our Discord is going to try and hunt Doug down to find
to kill him.
I mean, they added him, and that's exactly the amount of hunting we're going to do. And I feel like Doug will reveal himself. I feel like the goodness of Entourage is going at the force will pull him back to the podcast. To be like, I should listen. I haven't listened in a while, and then
Right.
we'll get entouraged.
I was gonna say if this whole thing has taught us anything, it's that we shed listeners constantly.
Our listeners get, move on to bigger and better things, like hosting their own podcasts, probably,
Probably.
they get so inspired. If they could do it, anybody could do it, and they don't have time to listen to all the podcasts
It's
they used to
true.
listen to.
If anyone listens to us and goes like, well, if these guys could do a podcast, I can. That's fair. You're probably
Yeah.
right.
It's accurate. Come back, Doug.
Cool. Do you guys have anything to plug, DJ?
Yeah, we're back. Roses and Rejections on the Pop Break TV network.
You mean the Golden Bachelor?
Feed? Well, I mean our podcast, Roses and Rejections. Also, we're supposed to go around and say what our recs were.
Oh, yeah.
Skyteam, Hatchet Games.
Delicious in Dungeon anime on Netflix, and American Fiction movie in theaters.
And then, for me, it's Killers of the Flower Moon, yes. The Curse, yes. Echo, not really. True Detective, we'll see. Idris Elba Gold video on YouTube by Dan Olsen, yes. Self-Reliance, maybe. Blue Eye Samurai, yes.
Okay.
Those are my
This is
things
why we
that I
have to
talked
list
about.
them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I left several no's off my list, to be honest.
I feel like I have to say I finished Echo, and then what was the other one? Self-Reliance, I just remembered at the last minute I saw that movie, and it's not a no. It's fine. If people turn it on, you'll be like, this was okay.
You said maybe for Self-Reliance.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not going to change your life. Echo is a mess. So, there's that.
So, yes, in terms of plugs, Roses and Rejections, we're back, baby. New season of The Bachelor kicking off this upcoming Monday, the 22nd. So we had our preview pod of all 32 women who are going to be contestants on the show, and what our thoughts are, and what our predictions are. And, excited for another season of The Bachelor. I mean, excited insofar as it's a thing we watch, and it hasn't tired us out yet. So,
Do you have a favorite going into this season?
There is a woman named Samantha. She is a cheerleader for the Miami Dolphins, so I feel like I have to root for her pretty hard. I'm sure she'll be gone like night one or something like that. But while she's there, let's go.
I mean, we could probably tell if she's going to get eliminated, because is she on the Dolphins cheerleading team?
That's a good point.
Is she on the sidelines or not? But maybe they pay her to not do it that year. I don't know.
There was one woman. Oh my God, I want to find this out now. So they all have bios that they put up, and in this woman's bio, she put that she reads Sarah J. Maas fantasy novels. Do you guys are you familiar with that author?
No.
So Michelle said, and she knows because she reads it, it's like smut.
Nice.
Yeah. So
My man.
this woman just threw in her bio, yeah, I read smut.
You know
Michelle
what?
thought
I
that was
respect it.
Yeah, Michelle said that was very brave. That she not do I just read fantasy novels? I read Sarah J. Maas fantasy novels, which is to say I read.
I watch fantasy novels that fuck.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would never do something like that. I watched my show about the samurais that fuck. Never have I seen more penises on a show.
So that's
Not even
Michelle's.
Game of Thrones?
More than Game of Thrones. You would never consider putting this many on screen.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah.
So that's who Michelle's going hard for, just because they read the same kind of smut. But yeah, so
Wow, way to out your wife. You just said she knew. You didn't say that she read them.
No, I said she knew because she also reads them. So yeah, don't worry. She says on the pod that she does too, so it's not like a secret. Yeah,
his good Christian ears are burning right now. You have to stop talking about this Sarah Jessica whatever or something before his head explodes.
But yeah, that's all I got. So Diggins, anything to plug?
Nope. What about you, Nando?
I don't have too many I have videos that I'm working on. I don't know when they'll be out. I do want to do one about Supergirl castings. That's been something that people have been talking about recently. And then I'm also got a video, my first Marvel Snap lore video about the World War Hulk characters will probably be out soon. It's currently in my editor's hands, so I'll probably get more stuff about it later today. So I'm very excited to see that. And you should be too. If you're someone who watches Marvel or plays Marvel Snap, and even if you're not, if you're just a normal person, but you want to learn about World War Hulk, this will teach you those things. So this will all be stuff that you can find on my Nando Cut channel or on Nando View Movies, one of them. Follow both, and then we'll see. But yeah, next week, Percy Jackson 1, The Lightning Thief, the movie, not the show. Till then, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. We love you.